All right, guys, we are live. All right, welcome back, everybody. How we doing today? Let me just see people in chat. Stream ends now. Walter Green is really everywhere we go.
Walter Green 47, thank you. My old channel would have collapsed without you.
He's our ultimate supporter. All right.
How are we sounding, guys?
Should be sounding
Seems
pretty
like
good.
Icon and I are the only people currently in.
No one else is speaking.
What do you mean?
Excuse me?
There we go.
Everyone gets cold feet immediately.
Yeah, for real. All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined with, we got Boss Ranker in chat. It's really late for him. Apologies.
It is pretty late, but
yeah.
you know, I've still got some things to say, commentary to give, you know.
Absolutely. We also got Horde Mode Gaming.
Hello.
We got Soap to Go.
Hi, I'm back. I'm finally in another one of these.
Yeah, whatever. And we got first time community member Sneaky J Cool.
What's up?
He's actually Australian, guys.
Ugh.
Is he in the
From
VC?
Quebec.
He is.
I am not from Quebec.
Jay's French.
You wish.
I do.
Some good.
What have we got planned today, Icon? What we up to today, bro? What are we going to be talking about?
Why are you summoning this?
All right, guys. Very happy to be back with the final theory and lore stream for Revelations before launch. I was hoping we'd have
Which is...
Yeah, it is 2 days away, correct.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would have a launch trailer by now, because it seems to be that, at least for the mainline entries, we get that about a week before launch, but looking back at the trends of the DLCs, we really get it the couple days leading up, so I think we can look forward to that being tomorrow instead, or the next day.
I think it's definitely tomorrow.
But yeah.
It just kind of fitting, though.
It is very fitting, yeah, because you really want the hype of a DLC to kind of really pull it all the way to the end.
Oh, yeah.
But are you guys excited?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
not even a question, man.
I'm biting my fingernails, and that's how excited I am.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited, man. It's very exciting times to be a Doom fan. You know, it's I mean, based on what we saw in Doom Eternal, those DLCs seem to refine and basically complete the fundamentals and the foundations of what that experience was going for. And based on what we've seen through previews, through trailers, and through just Hugo Martin's commentary, we can tell that this DLC is going to be something truly special. You know, I've played a lot of expansions that have been kind of mid. I've played a lot of bad expansions. I've played a lot of good ones too, but this definitely seems to be one of the better ones. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I mean, just with the scale of Eternals DLCs, we got what we got and really appreciated it, and you know, the wait was worth it, all that. But what we have coming soon, coming in 2 days, is something much more massive and far larger in scale, and that's just something that is going to keep us as a community just busy for a long time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a chunky one.
Yeah, carrying out the legacy of not only the main campaign, it'll make it, you know, more memorable, and it'll also it'll bring out a much greater appreciation for the main campaign, pulling people to go replay that, as well as experiencing this DLC with everything it has to offer. But yeah,
absolutely.
like I said, I did intend on there being a launch trailer this week that we could probably dissect, but it's likely that'll debut either tomorrow or even the morning of launch, with it
Yeah,
kind of
I imagine so.
Yeah, with
I
it
mean,
kind of having a later
usually-
launch.
Yeah. I mean, usually with DLCs, it's the day before, you know, because DLCs, obviously, there's not as much content to really dive into, so what you show off in the trailer has to be really selective. So usually they do that the day before because you don't want people to dive into the DLC too much, I mean, the launch trailer too much and dissect everything, so there's nothing really to look forward to, you know?
100%.
Well, no surprise is what I'm trying to say, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely something we didn't get with the main campaign because that, I mean, not only that, but there was...
It was just so much,
yeah. There was all the Steam key access codes and throughout all the world for reviews and stuff, so everything was already out. So the fact that we get literally nothing until the day of is great, and I'm very grateful. But
that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Regardless of a launch trailer, there's a lot to discuss here. You know, we've been given a lot lately. recent theories going around. Not even mentioning Hugo Martin's streams, but just with the press events and all that they've been sharing on Twitter and Instagram with concept pieces and stuff. A lot has been revealed. We're not really going to be discussing any of those spoilers from the press event, guys, by the way. So if y'all are cautious of that, don't worry. The largest we'll dive into is one specific thing, but it's still going to be kept pretty tasteful and nothing too spoilery there. But yeah, there's a massive story coming with this DLC, at least narratively. One of the biggest Doom experiences we have had yet, in terms of lore, both from the main story, the flashbacks, and even the codex entries. It's just the biggest we've ever gotten. So I'd like to sort of go into the different aspects of the, like the story, the missions and characters and whatnot throughout the stream, and we will try to answer questions as we can. But we have a lot to talk about, a lot of different subjects, so we're kind of be going from subject to subject throughout the stream, and hopefully cover just everything or most things that really stand out from the trailer, the concept pieces, the press event, and sort of like use those to kind of construct some narrative elements and predictions there. But yeah,
sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to start off with then?
So I would love to start off with there's been a lot of talk, not only from the press event and Hugo's words in general, but in the stream specifically, the last Slayers Club stream, he really pointed towards the history of the Sentinels codexes from Eternal. And I would kind of like to dive into that and see maybe what he was referring to,
A lot of good shit in there.
Yeah, lots of room for story there as well,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, also, I just got a notification from Ethan. Downstar Heretic was going to join us today, guys. He's been a busy man, but he will be here in spirit. He is a big part of these things and has a lot of awesome theory crafting. So he will be here in spirit, and a lot of the theories we'll be talking about, he did help sort of initiate to begin with. But
He's the goat.
But yeah, so
We
let's
actually have his spirit with us here in a little jar.
speaking
his
of
life spear.
Speaking of stuff we have here, Horde Mode Gaming has completed the DLC, and I will be gatekeeping all the information.
That is not even true. I would never tell him anything.
No, but you told Soap. Soap told me. I told him.
True.
All right, guys. So, a lot of this DLC, as you guys know, is going to be taking place during the events of a select few Sentinel Codex entries from Eternal, specifically after the Slayer's been blessed, but before the Civil War kind of unfolds and begins. That being said, I'm just going to read off a few quick entries from that. Usually specifically from the later ones, with History of the Sentinels, part 9 or 10? Let me see real quick.
I think it's 10 and 11.
Yeah. So a huge plot point of this DLC is the Khan Maker and her sort of betrayal of the Argenta and everything involving the politics of Argent Denor. So let me just get this up real quick, guys.
Take your time. We're not in any rush.
Yeah. So I think it was part 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a segment from History of the Sentinels part 10, and it says, "And though our hearts were pure and our purpose righteous, unbeknownst to the fighters of Argenta, in our wake and under the veil of secrecy, the Mother God had set her priests to build vast factories upon the heathen's land, that she might gather the essence further for further development. How this deception began, we would not know, for our focus remained only on the hordes in the underworld. Why then would we stoop so low as to consider Mother God betraying our covenant? With the Slayer unwittingly cleaving a path for her, the Mother God siphoned the essence, processing it beyond our knowledge into the fuel that would become Argent energy." So with all that considered, I think there is a possibility that we will not quite... Necroval is not yet in the picture. I think that is what Hugo was referring to. All these drills on. Let me get this picture up real quick, guys. There's a picture that goes with this. But essentially, one moment, guys. I think this is it right here. Yeah, so essentially what we see here, this is one of the first big concept pieces we've got in the recent weeks after the trailer debuted. But as we can see, there has been a lot a story with the Khan sort of drilling into the surface of Hell's core. And originally, we thought that it was kind of due to the Makers already siphoning energy, and the betrayal, not the betrayal, but the sort of deceit of the Khan with the pact with Hell has already been made. But this could be referring to something else. It honestly could be referring to just her research with the Argenta. Horde or Soap or whoever wants to chime in, do y'all think that pact has already been struck? Do you think that we're seeing the production of Argent energy with these sort of factories here and these drills? Or do you think this is something just with pure research?
I think it's the very beginning. I think there's probably a time gap between when the Slayer faces the High Council and when he wakes up in the Wretch's Chamber. And I'm willing to bet during that time period they've sort of made the pact, now that the Doomslayer is presumably not in the way, and they've started drilling. Started getting the Argent energy production ready. Early stage, anyways.
Yeah, still
I
fair.
I can chime in on this. In the first trailer, I believe it's when there's like a gameplay POV of us when we're fighting the buzzsaw. In the background, you can see like some Maker technology in the background that just sort of hanging there, and like it makes me think that obviously the DLC isn't out yet, so we don't know like exactly how long the time gap icon was talking about was, but I think that the pact between the Khan Maker and the Dark Lord may have took place either like right before the DLC started, or maybe during that time gap, how long it may be. So
Easily
it's
could have
like
been,
there was like me and Icon were also talking about this. Hugo mentioned that there was going to be a big post-credit scene, and the idea of it being the pact was sort of entertaining, but now that we see the technology in the background, I'm just not completely sure about that idea anymore. But ultimately, I think for now, I think right now, just like I think it'd be a cool thing to see, like in the DLC, just over time, watch as the Maker's technology like
Advances.
just advances, and ultimately it maybe the post-credit scene will be Necroball.
Right.
I don't know, but
There was this image here that was the way this is kind of framed. This is clearly what we presume to be Necroball, the City of the Damned, especially with the two Titans there and the sort of construction of it.
True.
The sort of context of this image in terms of Codex kind of points to it just referring to the discovery of the soul factories in general, probably Necroball, but in the later phases.
Well,
Go ahead.
a good point to make is that the early Necroval concept has the Doom 64 sigil on the
Right.
gate, and that right there has the 64 sigil
Yeah.
on the gate. So that's likely, when that was created at least, intended to be Necroval, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, and looking at the Sentinel Codex as well, Part 10 or wherever I said it was, it kind of gives the idea that they heard, and this is probably from the DLC, is where they got this info, maybe from the Slayer, right? But they learned of the soul factories that would come to create Argent energy, right? But it wasn't so distasteful to the Sentinels. It was obviously like they were like, why would you do that? They knew about the research and that they were researching it, but they didn't know anything beyond that. But with the discovery of the soul factories, they know that there's a lot more going on. And with their sort of reaction to it in the history of the Sentinels, clearly cements that they don't know the true nature of it, and this is before the discovery of like Necroval or the discovery of, because I assume the discovery of the soul factories was referring to Necroval. At least like that opened their eyes about it. But the one I just read about them learning about sort of that they've been researching and developing this stuff in Hell, this is kind of in a more in a phase where they didn't know the true nature of it, right?
Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's what starts the Civil Wars, when they find the true nature of it. That
Right.
it's Sentinel slaves and Sentinel souls, and a deal with Hell, and not just light research.
Yeah. Excuse me, my phone is spazzing out.
Well, I
now.
think it's a bit of both.
Hmm.
And because
Let me
would
turn
they
it up a little
be like fully interested in depth into the Argent energy at this point, or would they be like figuring it out?
Well, I
Oh,
think-
still figuring out. I would
Yeah.
bet.
I think at this point in time, especially with what we see with the snippet I just read about them, with the Slayer cleaving a path, unwillingly cleaving a path for the Mother God and to siphon the essence, processing it beyond our knowledge into the fuel that would come to be known as Argent energy. So this is at a phase where it's like, it's not quite there, but it's up that alley, right? And I do think I do kind of like how this DLC seems to indicate that the Slayer brought the demons to the Argenta, but he's also bringing the knowledge of this to the Argenta and sort of sparking those first flames of civil war there by doing so.
Oh yeah.
Because clearly he's going back to the Sentinels, and he wouldn't just withhold this information. You know, he's witnessing it all firsthand. Whether or not the pact has been struck or not is hard to say, but considering there is drills and highly advanced research factories in the core of Hell, how they found it, how they would have been able to get there or reach it. You know, if the pact hasn't been struck, I don't see how that'd be possible.
There is. I'm not sure how much. So, are we talking about things from the press previews that are like not direct
Yes.
stories? But like, how are we doing that?
We can kind of just talk about it along the way, and how do you mean?
The image that you have pulled up actually right now is what I was going to talk about. Maker technology directly integrated into Hell structures. So it's definitely, it's not just makers throwing technology in vacant spaces where demons won't approach. I mean, it's definitely integrating the technology into Hell itself.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
Yeah. So I think that being said, I think this is what Hugo was alluding to, where there is like a story from some snippets of the history of the Sentinels that they are telling, and I do believe what he was referring to is not the discovery of Necroval, but just the fact that the Sentinels will learn about not the true nature of the con per se, but these sort of eye-opening phases, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what it is, but they know of it now. They haven't discovered Necroval. They haven't discovered the Pact or learned of it. You know. But I think it's interesting.
Very early stage.
Yeah.
We're like the stepping stones up to the Civil War right now.
100%.
Can almost taste it.
I think we can kind of segue this into talking about just Hell's Core as a mission, right? So this
Yeah.
right here is the first concept piece of Hell's Core we were given. And I honestly, personally, I'm not quite sure if this is the Purgatory or Hell's Core sort of concept art, but I am assuming it's referring to the mission. But so regardless, so Horde, you mentioned right that Purgatory is presented as a full mission. Is there anything that they mentioned about how it would kind of segue into the Hell's Core mission?
No, so as far as I can gather, there are portals sort of around the Purgatory mission that can be used to access the other levels and stuff, but it wasn't clear if you will have to do a portal to go from the Purgatory area to Hell's Core, or if you can just, it's like a natural mission structure of just walking there. I mean, not actually walking there yourself, but, you know, the Slayer
Yeah.
going from Purgatory to Hell's Core. They seem to be just about in the same spot. Like, they have the same architecture, the same props, all of that. So it would make sense to me that Purgatory and Hell's Core are very, very close, very tied together.
Right. And it seems to me that there was, three or four missions tied to Purgatory, like, that you can access directly. I think it was three, because the fourth being
Yeah.
Purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure, Jay can attest to that, too. I know he's the news guy, but that being said, it's like all these main Hell missions seem to really integrate the themes of Hell's Core, all right? Like we see the sort of purpose of Osius, you know, we'll talk about that later, but kind of potentially containing the heart of Hell, right? And then we
Yeah.
even see with Chasm of Zalgoroth, which I want to keep as its own sort of thing. We'll talk about in a little bit. But the Chasm of Zalgoroth seems to be sort of integrated with Hell's Core in terms of just the structure of the mission. There's a lot of icy elements to it, and that's something that I don't know if you learned anything about that, but I do want to avoid spoilers, so we're going to keep it speculative. But I personally think that that all the Hell missions seem to kind of integrate with Hell's Core in terms of theming and sort of like flow, which is interesting. I guess that being said, we can go ahead and talk about Chasm.
Oh yeah.
So
I think
Chasm,
I talked to you about this one the other day. But,
yeah, we did.
You said how it's icy, and then you get to the the cosmic bits that we know about that we
100%.
love. But I think I brought up a theory the other day that like Hell is consuming the cosmic realm, or like they're fighting in a sense, clashing the two realms.
Yeah, they're either clashing or due to like the old one and the witch kind of like fading away with the end of the Dark Ages campaign. Hell now has control to some extent of the cosmic realm, and so maybe this sort of absorption of the realm is kind of taking place, or at least with this segment,
Yeah.
I do wonder if now that a lot of the higher forces in the cosmic realm that we're aware of are gone, if maybe it's just sort of there's no one to stop Hell now on the cosmic realm's end. No one to be like, hey, let's not combine our realms. So it's just sort of naturally being absorbed with no one to step in and stop it.
Right. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. So I don't know if this is like a bit off topic. I'm gonna try and keep it related, but the thing about the cosmic realm is that when we first saw it revealed in the trailer, or way back then before the game released in the PlayStation showcase, we saw and then trailer 2 we saw Cthulhu, we saw, or the old one, we saw all that. But when we get into the game, there's just like the god of the cosmic realm is only Cthulhu, the old one, and to Icon's point about how there's really no one else to sort of step in, it really makes you think. Since the cosmic realm was, if I remember correctly, it was planned beyond the Dark Ages, like way before.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. It really makes me think that they have like a sort of a sandbox here where they could just pull a lot of Lovecraftian elements and gods. I have
With full
that too,
access,
but-
with full access of the cosmic realm, pretty much at this point, nothing to stop them per se, because Cthulhu was presented as the god of the cosmic realm in terms of power, right? Like the strongest old one. Obviously, he's not the only quote unquote old one, whatever. Even if that might not even be the race's name, but he is the strongest sort of deity of the cosmic realm. And with him gone, there's not really a lot of force to stop Hell, who now has access to the realm, to sort of take advantage of their power and manipulate them even further.
Exactly. there's just like so many gods they can pull, and to just good not great's point. I'm sorry, I just shout out to him for great art. There's multiple gods, not just Cthulhu. We see in I think Harbor of Souls, like the first cutscene, I think. We see like 3 old ones. I call them Starspawn, but it sort of makes it like the old one is presented as like the god of the cosmic realm, but then when we see these guys, we have to question just how strong is he? Are there multiple of him? Like there are, but how powerful are they, and what are their significance? Like, we don't know for now, but I would love to. I just don't want to see the cosmic realm just be like a one and done in Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I think it could. I think as
I don't think.
potential come
Yeah,
back and-
they're
There's
definitely not going
also-
to ride it away.
Speaking of the multiple gods, the name of the level, Chasm of Zalgoroth. Who's
Yeah.
Zalgoroth?
We'll get into
So,
that momentarily.
sorry.
We'll get into that
Yeah.
momentarily. Sorry, I want to first let's talk about the sort of. I know we were mentioning it, and you were mentioning it too. So the sort of flow of the level. It's kind of what I was talking about before with like Hell's Core. So we see Hell has kind of consumed Hell's Core, or excuse me, Hell has consumed the cosmic realm to some extent, and I do believe this mission will kind of visualize that and show us that in terms of visual storytelling. Who Zalgoroth is hard to say, but without a doubt, I think that there is a breach from this dimension into Hell, a sort of like dimensional tear, right? And maybe that's how the level is structured. You know, like the first half, kind of like how Oseus seems to have two parts, with the interior and the exterior. I do think that the first half will be the sort of hell frozen over aspect of it, and then we will sort of lead into we'll find ourselves in fully consumed into the cosmic realm, sort of where this portal is right here, kind of resembling that classic Doom 2 chasm map. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on was that in the press preview footage and stuff, there is that little bit of the sort of the preview of the Astral Key Gate, and it's just in Hell. It's just
Yep.
in the
it is.
in Hell's Port. So I think that alone sort of further, yeah, you pulled the picture up. I see that. It's further fuels the idea that Hell and the cosmic realm are even more integrated than ever now. And because I mean that's Hell Hell metal that's on the gate as well.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not like a
I mean,
cosmic
it's
gate.
also an antichrist symbol. You know, we see with the upside down cross. I
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah,
I
cross,
do
yeah.
wonder because of this sort of interactable front of the Slayer with this oil. This may be related to the shield. I don't really know. Is there any mention of this being accessed from Purgatory, or is it, I know there is the backtracking element of these levels once you get the master key and what is it called, the Astral Key? I can't remember what it's called. But I wonder if that's related to that, or if it's related to. Well, I know you do need the key, right? But I wonder if this is accessed through
Yeah.
the missions with those keys, with those new paths, or if it's accessed from the Purgatory hub area.
I do wonder because it looks like the what do you call them? The master arenas. The gates for those are also seem to be in like a very similar icy cave environment in Purgatory. So I would imagine all of that stuff is probably in the hub. Because
Right.
it wouldn't make sense for them to put it in Hell's Core, at least not to me.
That's fair. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But regardless,
Hey. Oh, God.
in terms of Zal Goroth himself, this is the only sort of minor spoiler we're going to touch on, and it's not too much of a spoiler than it is just public press information at this point. It is very fair to assume, because this is the Uber Boss Gate, who is presumably the greatest boss and challenge that id Software has made up to date. Because of it being a cosmic area and Zal Goroth, Chasm of Zal Goroth, you know, we can, it's fair to assume that Zal Goroth is the Uber Boss, right?
Yes.
And we can even see, I think, Sneaky J. Cool, you pointed this out to me, but with the Chasm of Zal Goroth, this new screenshot we received in the past few days.
Giant heads and stuff.
I
and,
know the press, and Horde, you can touch on this too real quick if you want. The press did show some footage of certain things regarding the Uber Boss, I believe, and I'm not saying for you to tell me what this is or anything, but I'm assuming that this boss is large, right? Is not massive, but just a lot larger than a typical demon, right? And as we could see up here behind these squids, there are these two large hands, you know, and maybe that could be something related to it. Do you have any ideas about that, or?
Well, has anyone pointed out yet that you can also see those hands in the initial reveal trailer as the Slayer is orbiting that vagary in the cosmic realm? You can see a pile of them.
No, I have not.
I did not know.
I'm very surprised no one's mentioned that. But yeah, no, you can. I can try to send a picture if you want to just put it on screen or something. Or if
100%.
you're, I don't know if you're able to do that.
I am able to do
but
that.
I'll do that then. But yeah, well, I will say I was shown just like a very brief little bit of the Uber Boss. He is a big boy.
He is a big boy, yes.
Sweet.
He's a big
Vega, Hotter Than Sun. Yeah, we're not going to be talking about this Steam achievements, because there's a lot of
Yeah,
information
that's
about
spoilers.
that the press has talked about, and it's 2 days away. We haven't gotten the launch trailer yet. We're going to keep it nice and clean and avoid spoilers. But yeah, we do know what you're talking about.
I noticed something like very minor. It's probably not anything, but can you go back to the Astral Gate?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks to Horde for all these snippets of screenshots, because a lot of these are his from his press preview.
Yeah,
Stolen from
so-
me, not given to me, stolen by me. By the way, he didn't do anything.
So this is sort of more like a minor thing, but I noticed when I was looking at the screenshot, like just now, when we in the base campaign when we get shield runes, they're like sort of in these like little fountain thing, sort of like that. Is that not like one of those like at the bottom?
Oh yeah,
I could
wonder,
just be
um,
a reuse
I had
that.
assumed it was a reused asset.
Horde,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you know if they had any interactables here, like maybe the use of the astral key, or master key, whatever it was? Did
I
they
don't
show
think I
any?
even seen
Okay.
any of the keys.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna send this. Maybe
You know, I do wonder if that maker little piece has anything to do with that.
it's kind of hard to see and it's kind of blurry, so maybe it's not hands. But I was at some point fairly certain those were hands back there above the cycler
I see it, but I'm
pile
not
of
sure.
hands.
Yeah.
Moss is
Yeah,
right.
I'm not sure
Oh,
it's all
wait,
hands.
maybe, because the
But-
Cosmic Realm.
Well, it used to be tentacles and now it's hands.
Yeah. Cool little picture
Interesting.
there.
That'd
Let me
be
get
kinda
this
sick.
let me get this going up. But yeah, so before I just want to gloss over this before we sort of dive into Zalgoroth. Boss Ranker, what do you think of Zalgoroth as a boss? You know, this is presumably the best boss they've created. What are some things you'd kind of like to see in a boss like this, especially with it being post game, mind you?
Well, so the impression I'm getting from this, so this is like a colossal being, right? This is something that's going to be massive. I am correct on that, right? This is going to be a big boy, as Horde would say.
Horde can tell me.
Yeah,
if
very,
they're-
very big
okay.
guy.
Would you say
Okay.
colossal or would you say massive?
I don't know. I would say massive because it's not like. It's
Okay.
not, I would say not Titan sized.
It's not Shadow of the
Sin.
Colossus, no.
Yeah, you're not gonna be climbing on this guy. So.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I don't know. I mean, it'd be really cool to. I wanted to pose a unique challenge. I want it to be the culmination of all of the gameplay difficulty, and all the skills we learn with the spear. You know, all of the traversal, all of the movements, and the dynamics of how we engage with this DLC. And I kind of want to see that all applied to this boss in a unique way that challenges us more than anything we've experienced in Dark Ages so far. Because if you ask me, I feel like the bosses in the base game, they were kind of missing something, in my opinion. I'm not saying they're bad or anything. I'm just saying they
As
felt
long
like
as you
they were
tell
missing
me
some of that
excluding
sauce.
Azric, then I forgive you for what you just said to me right now.
Okay, well, no, I mean, I didn't say. I just feel like they were kind of missing something. Apart from, like, the Azrak boss, I just think the other two were kind of lackluster, in my opinion. However, in this DLC, because we have a lot of new ways. Sorry if I'm slurring my words.
You're
I
perfectly
can't
fine, dude.
articulate myself the way I'd like to. I really hope Zalgoroth is just going to be the true test of challenge here. I mean, you're looking at that door. I'm guessing you can hear him behind the door, the imposing
Dude, that would be
threat
pretty
within this
cool.
area.
Like,
That'd be
come
really
back
cool.
after you beat the
Yeah.
game to fight what's in here, and you just hear like roaring. That is a very good point, dude. Wow,
Yeah, that'd be cool to
awesome.
kind of
Yeah.
like build up the tension and the anticipation of going up against this extreme foe. And I honestly have no idea what to expect, to be honest. But if this truly is the most challenging boss in the series, I'm excited. Sorry, I could talk about this all day because I feel like, I don't know, in Doom Eternal, a lot of the bosses were very gimmick heavy, but in Dark Ages, they took a step away from that and they tried to find more. They tried to challenge you more in your gameplay skills rather than how you can master certain gimmicks within, the encounters.
Right.
And I feel like based on what I've seen from the gameplay, that's what these bosses are going to be. It's going to be more of a gameplay. It's going to be more of a challenge experience, utilizing your skills with the mechanics instead of, oh, how well can you master this certain gimmick within the fight or a weak spot. And hopefully Zalgoroth is that. Hopefully it's a multi-phased encounter, which, based on the bosses we've already been up against, that's probably what it's going to be.
Easily could be.
Yeah, exactly. I hopefully it's a bit longer than the other bosses. Not to a point where it's like, insane, but if the whole point of this dungeon is to build up to this encounter, I really hope it is mesmerizing, memorable, incredible. I really hope it does, test us in ways we've never been tested before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you think that there's a benefit in having this as a or what do you think is the biggest benefit, I should say, with having this as a post game boss after you completed these master encounters already? to come back to this, and not just being the final boss?
I'd say, I mean, straight away, I can already assume if this is the secret final boss, this is going to be far more challenging than anything we've experienced so far. I know I keep saying that, but it's, you know, it's important to
Right.
run that home. It is, because I don't know about you. I mean, I play these games on Hurt Me Plenty, okay? I do. I might play this DLC in Ultra Nightmare. I'm going to test the waters a little bit with Hell's Core, see how I'm finding it. If it's super easy, I'll bump it up. But dude, I don't know. Like, I really am excited, man. I really am excited. And I'll tell you something too. I really hope this fight utilizes the spear specifically, because I feel like that is the bread and butter of this expansion. The spear is the selling point from a gameplay perspective, right?
Well, yeah,
Like that is
requiring complete
yeah.
mastery. I imagine it does utilize both the shield and the spear mastery, because
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the problem with the shield is the parry. I don't know. The parrying's really good, but it's also a little too telegraphed and a little too predictable in terms of boss design. However, if you're utilizing the spear, you could do a lot of cool things with that. You could use like the meat hook chain, you know, maneuver they have with the spear. You could use ground pounds to maybe attack certain weak points on the boss. Maybe we have verticality, like multi-phased platforms and layers to the arena. And that's another thing too. It'd be really cool if we are going up, maybe not a colossal being, but if we're going up against like a massive enemy, it'd be really cool if we could have like more verticality in the arena, like maybe multiple floors and layers, kind of like the Icon of Sin,
Yeah, I was just about
but a
to
bit
say.
more engaged. Yeah, kind of
This-
like that, but a
this
bit
is
more
kind of
engaged.
like what people wanted because of the verticality elements and the meat
Yeah,
hook
yeah, for
aspect
sure.
and the meat hook nodes at that. Maybe we could finally have the sort of Titan or Icon of Sin boss fight we had all hoped for, where we can kind of fling around him and kind of have this more engaged face off against him rather than shooting just a giant wall, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this too. I mean, I'm really hoping for this, okay? I really hope this isn't just a like a formulaic boss. I really hope this is something special.
So it's not like
Because-
the copy paste of the.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you ask me, I feel like in the previous games, in Doom Eternal, my favorite boss in the whole game was the Gladiator. And the reason that was my favorite boss was because it felt like the Doomslayer was going up against an enemy without any skills, without any gimmicks, without any tropey boss design. It was just a really solid encounter where you felt like two warriors just going at it, right? And that's what I want to see here. I don't want to see, you know, the boss design of, oh, we're going to have a huge enemy and you're going to have to take out, you know, his weak points, so you're going to have to damage and break down his layers. I don't want to see that. I just want to have... I want to learn, not a Dark Souls boss, but kind of like a Dark Souls boss, in the sense that I want to learn this guy's attack patterns. I want to learn when it's appropriate to attack instead of just going all out crazy. And based off, if we can basically take what the Azrak boss was from the base game,
Rick.
and just improve on that, then I think we're gonna have the best boss in Doom on our hands here, man. I'm really excited.
I am too, and I'm glad it's unique enough to where it doesn't really need to be this big story thing, you know. It fits right in with the world and the story without narratively needing. I mean, presumably, right? I mean, because it is not a main narrative boss as we know of. So I am glad that there is some uniqueness to it. Go ahead.
I would say personally, this is just an opinion, I wouldn't mind if it had some more narrative-based stuff around it, because if that would be the first time we've ever had side missions in Doom, like story-based side missions, and I would not mind, personally.
Well, that kind of segues me into my next question. I was about to ask you guys kind of a couple questions stacked on top of one general topic here, but Zalgoroth is a post-game boss, optional, not the final boss, which... you know, there's reason to believe that this Uber boss was originally the final boss, right? But what do you guys think of him not only not being the final boss narratively, But how do you think he fits into this world if we are going through an entire sort of city or realm named after him, right? How do you think it's going to tie in? And do you think it's going to be fully codexed, or do you think it's going to be strictly narrative?
Can you
environmental.
I'm sorry. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more, please?
Yeah. So how do y'all think he's going to kind of fall into the story? Because we clearly, the Cosmic Realm is an important part. It's a full mission, right? This isn't an optional mission, but it's an optional boss, right? So because there's a city named after him and we're going to his territory, how do you think that's going to be? What do you think its purpose is going to be as a character? Or do you think it's going to be fully codexed and kind of not really in the story itself at all?
Oh, okay. So I'm
Hugo,
sorry.
last stream talked about how the Cosmic Realm stuff was still going to be pretty, like, secretive, in that sense. So I think it's going to be like he said before, like the whole game, but particularly the Cosmic Realm, very like heavy environmental storytelling and like things we see. We gotta piece it together.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. I do hope they sort of establish a relevance of it being named after him, because hey, why are we going to this place called the Chasm of Zalgoroth? You know, if it's some optional encounter. But
I think they will.
I do.
I think they will.
Yeah, hopefully. I do at the least think that one of their sort of segmented codexes will be about Zalgoroth. You know, because there is a lot more codex here, a lot more chapter-based codexes, and I do think if they don't establish him to have an importance in the overall story of the main narrative, we'll at least get some codex stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen with this, I mean, the fact that we're going for a city that's named after Zalgoroth, I mean, we're already establishing that he has like a pretty big presence within this universe. And what they could really do, they could do some really interesting foreshadowing within that city, maybe having I don't know, like murals or something depicting Zalgoroth and his presence, and just how powerful this antagonist and this foe is, you know? Because I don't know, it'd be a little disappointing if we don't see anything and then we just encounter him and kill him. I kind of want to see some build up, even if it's through environmental storytelling like that. I think that'd be really cool, you know?
Yeah, I we'll definitely get that to establish him, kind of like, hey, we're gonna have to come back here
for
after.
sure.
You know, who knows? Maybe he's even the after credits dude, right? Oh, there's another thing going on. You know, maybe that's what the after credits is dedicated to. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
I would hope not.
It's hyped up to be something more integral to this point in the story, but you know, we'll see. So to kind of cap this off here, with Zalgoroth, obviously it's a main narrative path. We are going to this city area, not just the Hell's Core half, right? So say we take the main narrative, go through Hell's Core, go to Chasm of Zalgoroth. The Hell's Core merged segment is the first half. The city itself with all the labyrinths and stuff, that's the second half. That big portal, right? There's a lot of discussion that this point in the story takes place as like maybe the penultimate final level, right? So what do you think this portal's purpose is, and do you think that maybe this is the reason we get to our final destination? Do you think he goes here to take the portal? What else would we sort of go here for?
In the reveal trailer, you can see the Slayer inserting some sort of maker artifact into a cosmic thing. I don't know what you call it. It's kind of
Like
like
a
the
levitating pad kind of thing, yeah.
It's an interactable, yeah. Like a key
So
insert.
honestly, I personally wouldn't be surprised if that giant portal is just a background element. Just something really cool in the background that sort of has some sort of lore tied to the level, but no actual interaction.
Just the
Yeah,
vista.
they had that in the okay, I forgot the Temple of Lomra.
Lomrith,
I
yeah,
forgot
Lomrith.
the
Yeah.
giant eye, something like that.
Yeah, kind of like that, where it's just really cool background vista, but you never actually interact with it.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
I would also like to bring to mind the amazing Lost Souls here. They look awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, this is kind of something we'd all kind of figured out. At least with me, I thought if they did a Pain Elemental, there would be a different type of Lost Soul kind of coming with them gameplay-wise. because the other ones we
Which
got
is
were just
good.
kamikaze tanks, you know. But yeah, exactly, which
Yeah.
is good. But narratively, to your point about the maker piece going into the, what the hell am I seeing in the chat, guys? Can someone delete that?
Do we have?
I
You
got
don't.
it.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure, but-
I didn't even have to read that. Yeah, guys, we're not doing that,
That
that
was
shit.
funny.
Sorry, I was like, I'm sorry.
I don't know
Is
what
that
I
today?
don't know what you're telling me to do it for.
I mean, real quick.
These
I
are
don't
my
wanna dive-
henchmen, guys. These are my henchmen.
yeah.
Real quick, I also don't want to take too much focus away from the discussion, but I just want to comment on the enemy designs in this DLC because they all look absolutely fantastic, man. Like especially this cosmic pain elemental that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
looking at right now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I just love the horror-esque design of some of these enemies because
I
mean, we
love
can't
It's
how-
very, very scorned.
it is very Scorn. I love it. Like it's it has its own like distinct kind of aesthetic with the cosmic realm. I mean, that was something that kind of irked me about the base game. I really wanted to see just a few more cosmic variations on the
Completely
iconic
agree.
demons that we've been fighting for so long, you know? And this
Completely
DLC
agree.
seems to be doing that with the I mean, it's all and it's adapting a demon we haven't seen since Doom Eternal. So that's really cool, man. I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
it.
And we were just gushing about the Warlock beforehand. You know, he's another
I love his
awesome one.
mandibles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they look incredible.
12 times the hugging power.
An
That's all
underrated aspect,
Man.
underrated aspect
Getting
of the elementals design is sorry.
Go ahead.
Honestly, like the stone triangle just in its head. I don't know what that is, but I like it. I love it. It's,
yeah.
it's an odd thing to talk about, but still I like it.
It's just one of those Lovecraftian motifs that they're gonna kind of keep it.
It is, yeah,
yeah.
it's fantastic. Like the way they've adapted Lovecraft's work into this game is It's just
superb,
incredible.
You know? Honestly,
Like,
this
they
is
really.
this is kind of
I'm so
resembling
sorry.
a lot of. Sorry, the latency's terrible. I know you're in the UK, so it's like yeah, not you, just in general. Yeah, dude, the Hugo Martin had a sketch of his iteration of what would eventually become the Cacodemon, right? Their version of the Cacodemon. He had a very cosmic design that was kind of similar to what we see with this cosmic elemental and the sort of purples and stuff. So that sort of design language has always been there, but to see it fully realized now because they have
It's
the
it's
means to do it,
incredible.
yeah, it's incredible. But
Has anyone noticed that the cosmic Lost Soul kind of looks like Horde Mode Gaming?
It does.
dude, it has the same
does, kind
skull.
of.
This confirms that you are in fact a bug for id Software.
I bought in software.
Hey, like I said, you and Austin are doing voice acting for the game, so
I do voice Zalgoroth.
wait, guys. You know, there's an end credits for Tag 2 with the intern giving a little like, "Hey yo." Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a little tribute to
Can
the
you
Doom 2.
imagine?
This is a disgusting
God
cameo
himself.
from Horde Mode Gaming.
When we fight Zalgaroth, the first thing we hear is going to be, "This time in Doom: The Dark Ages, I am
Yes.
the final boss.
Alright.
To beat the game, you must defeat me."
Yeah,
Horde
bro.
Mode Gaming.
Just real quick, guys, we do have 100 viewers in here. Thank you guys for joining in.
Oh
Um,
wow, no way.
Everyone
That's
on here
incredible.
joining in, we are just fully going through all bits of the lore and without spoiling, talking about everything we know and kind of coming together to form some elaborate final theories for specific story elements and overall just appreciating all the recent reveals that we've gotten both conceptually and through the press tour. But I'm joined with Boss Ranker, Horde Mode Gaming, Sneaky J Cool, and Soap to go. And yeah, we're trying to read comments as we can, guys, but we do have a lot to talk
Hello.
about. A lot more to talk about. But kind of getting back on topic here, guys, with the Chasm of Zalgoroth, story-wise, we initially had some speculation that it was that little snippet from the trailer we saw with the Maker artifact going into the tentacles, the cosmic tentacles, was for the hub, not for the Chasm
Oh,
mission.
interesting.
Because
Okay.
of the frozen elements. However, now we know there is a frozen Hell's Core aspect to the Cosmic Realm mission, maybe as the first half, but I think narratively, I do think that the reason to go to the Cosmic Realm will be to get through essentially what we think is the final mission, Uprising, the Argent Denor mission. So I think that to travel back to Argent Denor, maybe he needs to travel through the Cosmic Realm. What do y'all think of that? Do y'all think that's to be expected, or do y'all have any other ideas of sort of the story purpose to go here?
I think it's possible, but how would I guess there's no, the portal closed behind Cthulhu when Doomguy and him went to the Cosmic
Hold on,
Realm.
just a moment. Dope 8878. We don't want to talk about the spoilers and stuff in chat because not everyone here is has seen all the achievements and stuff. So keep that.
Yeah, I
keep that
haven't.
to yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, guys, please keep it clean. A lot was shown with the press stuff, but all the trophies, we're not talking about any of that because it's a little too on the nose, and it'll just ruin some
It's a
special
day away.
Yeah,
elements.
it's unnecessary, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Just
of
didn't
stuff.
want to.
Yeah,
Didn't want to interrupt. Sorry about that. Just thought that
Yeah,
was
it's fine.
important.
No, it's fine.
yeah.
I'm
so,
sorry. Real quick, I just want to say that I really am glad we're going back to the Cosmic Realm because it's such a unique and distinct location for Doom. It's honestly one of my favorite locations in the entire series just because of how memorable it is from an artistic direction. Like this, like I absolutely love what they've done here. Like with all the enemies, just the way it looks, the way it feels, the ambience, the atmosphere, it's all done incredibly well, you know? And one of my big fears going into this DLC was the fact that we weren't going to come back here and it was just going to be exclusively Hell's Core and maybe Argent Denor. So the fact that they have found a way that we're currently discussing how we're going to come back here to bring us back here and indulge in this location more and maybe show us more aspects of this world or realm we haven't seen yet is incredibly exciting.
I completely agree. I think a big
Also,
go ahead.
I'm so sorry, real quick. I'm so sorry. That's rude. But you know those squids up there? I know where those squids are from, man. I remember them. Have you seen that? No, yeah, it was from the what was it? The Mariana Trench. They found that really weird squid-looking creature. Like really, have any of you seen that?
Yeah,
so
Well, there's a
I
big
actually been
aquatic
talking about
element
this.
of the cosmic realm, and they're pulling kind of from that thalassophobia and megalophobia stuff that you kind of see,
Dude,
that
that's
whole phenomenon.
I didn't know that. I just noticed it then. Yeah.
I'd like to talk about two things. One's about the squids. Those squids are called or we have a real world equivalent of them, of course. They are called the bigfin squids, otherwise known as the Magna Penis squids.
Magnum what?
The video that the Magna Penis squid icon. they are. I think the video you're talking about was a recording found like in an oil like underneath an oil rig. They were
rig.
digging. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, they recorded that, and actually, they're not as big as you may think. They're actually kind of small, but they're still kind of creepy, though, of course.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
Yeah, I would also like to, if you're not done, I would also like to bring up a very small point about the Cosmic Realm.
No, absolutely, go for it, man. I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
So a little bit earlier, Crisis, just Good Not Great, talked about how like they could bring in other gods into the Cosmic Realm. I'm not going to go into a big like whole spiel about it, but I think if they're going to bring in another god, I think the absolute best choice is Nyarlathotep from the Crawling Chaos in Lovecraft stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down to see more of those popular elements pulled into it. And I'm sure we could see more, maybe not so on the nose stuff, but their equivalents, absolutely. But yeah, kind of circling back to... so we have Kazimo Zagoroth here, and again, the mission that potentially follows. We will talk about the sort of structure of the flow of the narrative in a little bit. But I want to kind of circle back to what I was talking about earlier, about the sort of Hell's Core centered missions and everything connected. So this was one of them. We talked about Hell's Core already, which is just us getting to Purgatory and then continuing onward, and who knows what the true plot is there or the objective. Maybe we're finding an artifact or a key or something. But let's talk about Osius, right? So let me just say, I think Osius is one of the most unique Hell designs probably since Harbor. I'm very intrigued by it, and everything. There seems to be a big storytelling aspect to it, like visual storytelling. There's just a lot to kind of take in, especially with that first teaser we got. We have not only is it a biome made completely of bone and a sort of petrified element of Hell that we've never seen before, but there's also like it seems to be like a city or maybe some old form of hierarchy that used to be based here, maybe even, which we'll get into in a little bit. But how do y'all think that we're gonna find our way in here?
I think we're gonna jump into a pit. Simply put, because they're drilling into Hell's Core, right?
Right. They do have that
So-
one large drill that we kind of see from the gameplay snippets.
Because assuming this is beneath that, or it could be above,
I
We don't
think
really know.
I think that Osius sees this like a giant bone world, like a Nimrod Khan and the common said Jakad. I think this. I'm sorry, I'm a big Davos Glazer, you know that, but I think this is the best sort of connection they can make to Davos because the potential here and the ability to connect it back to ancient hell is great. We absolute doc shout out to him. He pointed out like a very small connection between the architecture in one of the concept arts that we've seen. It was very similar to the Ingmar Sanctum.
That
So,
Yeah.
that leads to a question I have. Do you guys think this is like a sister city of Jakad, or sorry, Amora?
So
to be
so
specific?
okay. So let's start from the beginning here. On that topic. So, the first bit of lore we learned from this place is beneath the icy surface of Hell's Core is not rock and stone. It is a layer of purified flesh and bone. And beneath that is the living, beating heart of Hell. Because think of Hell like a living sentient being, right? You have Devoth, the sort of spirit of Hell, and then you have this, the body of Hell, and they are separate entities. Kind of like maybe even a parallel between the Father and Son and Holy Spirit with the Urdak, or excuse me, the heaven. But it's you can kind of draw that parallel here with there being a body and a living being of Hell, and then the spirit Devoth. But first off, so assuming this is what is under the IC structure of Hell's Core, this would be the innermost layer of the innermost layer being Hell's Core, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, with Jay's point, he pointed this out to me. There is a large drill with what we see in some of the gameplay footage of Hell's Core. Assuming the Slayer learns some truths about the Khan Maker and what she's doing, he maybe learns about the heart, which may be the primordial black heart. Basically, the Khan's getting all this. She's taking interest into Hell's assets and elements for her own purpose, right? With the Transfiguration.
So,
Go ahead.
this may have actually been touched on a little bit. I don't know, it's been like an hour ago at this point, so I kind of forgot. But that huge drill-looking thing, seen in the background of like the reveal trailer and some of the press
Yes.
footage and stuff, fairly certain. Well, I won't say certain. That's bold. I feel decently confident that that picture of the like the inner side of a drill with Maker technology, that's the inside of that, I believe.
Okay.
That one picture with the like the Slayer nest green thing, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that. Yeah, it looks like bone, if I'm being honest.
I
Are
do
you referring to
believe-
that image from like the close-up?
Yeah, it has all the Maker tech and
Yeah, the Maker tech.
Oh, okay.
in
Sorry, I
with
was
the,
a little confused there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
apologies.
No. That's my fault. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So initially, I
I
thought.
believe that.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, that's the right picture.
yeah,
I've
that
seen on
looks like
screen now.
bone.
I do believe
does
that
look
is
like
the
bone.
inside of the giant drill.
Okay, so this is sort of maybe the end of the mission, maybe a similar to Necroval 2, where we either scale upward or downward into it, and we disable it, jump into it, landing us into Osius. And
Perhaps.
so Osius, if this is under Hell's Core, right, and not separate away from Hell's Core, right, this is a biome of complete bone. So with Hell's Core being the flesh and skin, right, being drilled into, you can see the sort of blood being exposed in the organ aspect, or like the little muscle tissue. This would be below that, the skeleton, the bones, and beneath that would be the heart. So perhaps we travel here to destroy what may be the primordial black heart from Eternal, right, which is connected to the High Council. And then we kind of make our way into the city area, which is presumably the second half of the mission. And to what Soap and Jay were saying, there is a very similar design language here to what we see in early Urdak and Jakad, with the Inmore Sanctum, that sort of bony structure, almost cosmic. But a lot of it is very ancient. So this could be an ancient city, maybe and a remnant of Jakad and maybe even Amora, because Amora is like the last city standing.
I kind of would love to chime in on this. When you were talking just now, like not even like 5 minutes ago, Doc just sent me something very interesting, and I'd like to point it out. Jay mentioned earlier that Osios could be a sister city to Amora, and it's an interesting idea. But the DM I just got from Doc, he said that both Amora and Osios have outer fortress walls built to protect their cities from invaders, which is very
that's a really good point.
Very interesting.
Not even mentioning the chasm here, the kind of moat with the bridge and stuff that we see with the second half of the level.
Yeah, it looks very like regal, like maybe not like a golden palace or something like that, but like regal and Hell's like sort of civilization. I feel like there's a lot of connections to be made here with Davoth and Jakad, and we'll have to see in the Codex.
Well, especially being to add on to that, the Primordial Black Heart. If this does house the Primordial Black Heart, or if it is just above the Primordial Black Heart, then that is said to be the power and sort of like a spawn of a connection to Davoth, right? So this is like one of the most ancient parts of Hell right here. So this is kind of symbolic here with having the city here. Like maybe this is the fortress that defends the Black Heart, and that's why it's towards the surface. So there's this may be some possible way to kind of see more Davoth action with the High Council and whatnot. Like maybe
I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be like involved in a very minor role, because you have to remember that the Revelations DLC is the first time we're ever gonna see the High Council in action, and given how they serve directly under Davoth, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that he won't be mentioned either or referenced. And this image actually right here is the picture I was talking about. If you look at the friendly guy right there, I don't know why he's there. If you look at the door in front of him, it's very reminiscent of the Sanctum.
Yeah, especially with the exterior, the castle walls. We see this is a city. We see Hell text and sigils everywhere. This upside down cross, sort of behind some of these bones here. But something else I want to talk about here, talking about how it's an ancient city of Hell with clearly used to have inhabitants if it doesn't now. There's a statue in Osius that we can see one of the council members actually here, clear as day.
Yes.
It's this one right here. We see him clear as day.
He's the guy in the trailer and whatnot. He was in the middle, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, you can see Jay Cool in the statue photo. Like at the bottom.
So we have this here. So this points to this being maybe this is because the Primordial Black Heart is near, and that there is a connection to the High Council there, and further Davoth. But noticed the sort of shoulder padding too that both Azric and Davoth had in their designs. With the whole Amoran aspect.
Look at that guy.
That's something I was going to point out as well. Below them, we do see those sort of gargoyle figures that we see scattered across Hell that we thought were High Council members, but aren't.
I just wanted to point this out. Vega Had and the Sun also pointed this out. Look at the location where this is. This looks like the inside of a organism or something like that.
I will point out this is not. I do not believe this is a canon location.
Oh?
As in, this is a challenge arena.
This arena specifically.
Challenge arena.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah, and that's why we have you here. You do know more about those hidden encounters, but regardless, canon is questionable. The environment's going to still be canon regardless. I just mean, but narratively progressing, yes, you're totally right.
It's not a narrative spot. It doesn't have any, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't have any ties into the narrative. It's it's one of the either, I don't know if it's a master arena or a trial or whatever, but real quick, can you this is something I meant to ask before we started, man. I'm so sorry. Can you please distinguish real quick for the audience, and Boss, you could probably give your input on it also, the difference between the master arenas, the Praetor encounters, and then the arcade encounters? So
and which one this might be?
So their master arenas are the last ones. That's after you defeat the Uber boss. You unlock the 4 master arenas. They are the hardest official content they have to offer in the entirety of Dark Ages. It requires a complete mastery of the entire DLC combat loop. So it's like the hardcore shit, the final thing they have to offer officially before giving you the Repertorium awards or rewards, whatever. The Praetor Suit encounters are sort of the hardest encounters up to that point, from what I understand. Those are the first wave of in-game content. I believe you can access them as soon as you finish the main campaign. You can go back through levels, access Praetor Suit encounters. They're difficult, not the most difficult. There might be something unique about them. I wasn't told. I've just told they were very difficult, challenging encounters. Not the most difficult, but hard. Slayer Trials are arcade mode styled, sort of. I wouldn't say scored. I don't know how it works. I was just told that they have a scoring system.
Right.
They might have a leaderboard. I don't know. I would imagine you are trying to go for a rank, like Slayer rank out of bronze, silver, gold, and then let's see, what else did you want to know?
That that ranking system could be their ways to make ends meet with the community wanting that leaderboard system with like Repertorium or even Nightmare runs and stuff. So that could be their way of kind of fulfilling that. That's pretty cool. That's unique.
Did they talk about the classic levels?
So the classic levels will also be optional in-game content, as in stuff that once you complete the main campaign initially, you will then be able to unlock the optional. You have to find keys for them, of course.
Okay.
However, the Nightmare levels, I believe, are part of the main path content, meaning any Nightmare level, which is any of the flashback stuff, you will be experiencing automatically. So you don't have to miss out on you don't have to worry about missing out on any sort of huge story content if you skip the end game.
Yeah, a personal theory of mine with the Nightmare arenas is I think their way of, because so a point I was going to make, and I can throw it in here now because it works. A point I was going to make is the excuse me. Obviously, there was the tease of the Nightmare arenas, and there was also the tease of Hugo mentioned last stream that there will be to quote unquote read the codex when asked about Daisy being retconned. So that tells me that there's going to be a classic Doom Guy codex chapter sort of a page there, right? Like there's like a series of chapters there with that story. I think maybe with all these Nightmare encounters, some of like the walking simulator aspects to it, because they are going to be a bit set PC, right, and story driven. I think
very
yep. I think to fill in the gaps there between encounters, maybe some of the exploration stuff could be you find the codexes for those in the Nightmare encounters, as opposed to it being elsewhere.
Well, I do have a theory, but I think it sort of dips into spoilers, so I won't touch on it here.
Okay, that's fair. Because you do have more insight than us, that's right.
It's yeah, I do think that the codexes may be tied to the Nightmare levels, but maybe not within them.
Okay, that's interesting. Interesting indeed. Boss, what do you think of this sort of? Do you think that there would be a good narrative flow with having these narrative-driven set pieces in an action game? Do you think that's going to interrupt the flow of the campaign if they are not optional?
Can you elaborate on that a bit, please?
Like if they are not optional, as Horde was saying, how he thinks that they're for the main story and not optional, the flashback scenes. Do you think that's going to interrupt the game, since the game is a bit fast-paced and not really narrative-driven like that? Just to have like slower segments of you just using a classic shotgun to blast through enemies?
I don't think so. If anything, I think it will be really solid. It'll be a really solid breakup from the fast, intensive gameplay of the expansion. I think it'll add a lot of diversity. It'll add a lot of variation to the core gameplay loop on what you're actually doing. And to be honest, I mean, it's not like we're playing a slow version of something,
right.
And it's like, you know what I mean? We're playing classic Doom. It's fun for the novelty. It's fun for the nostalgia. And it doesn't feel like wasted nostalgia. It doesn't feel like we're returning back to this gameplay loop for the sake of it. No, it makes sense in the context of this story. And I think it's going to give us some really compelling lore drops about Flynn Taggart as a character and give us more reasons to care about his journey. So I don't think necessarily... Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, you can continue. I'll chime in after you're done.
No, it's okay. You can go.
Okay, so I was gonna say that we've been following Doom Guy Flynn Taggart since Doom 1, and we didn't really like get a grasp of his character like in the past games. We got like a crumb, but in 2016, like in the first
Yeah,
10 minutes of
absolutely.
2016, Eternal, we slowly started to get his character more, and it was phenomenal. But now in Dark Ages, we have like a sort of a painting of who this character is, what he cares
Yeah,
about,
absolutely.
and we've known what he cared about for a long while, but this DLC will finally like go into the full like character of the Doomslayer, and frankly, just give one of gaming's most iconic characters like a beautiful story, and just show off what's what's in his headspace, because
Yeah,
we're
what
seeing
makes him
classic
tick.
levels. Yeah,
That's what I'm looking forward to as well, because in the base game, we got to see Doom Guy or Doomslayer from
Show
a more
emotion.
personal lens. Like we saw there were many cutscenes with him without his helmet on. We got to see his facial expressions, and it kind of stripped away the stoicism of the Doomslayer, because in the other games we only have one scene where he removes his helmet to Aura Farm. That's basically it, you know?
Yeah.
But in this, we're going to have well, in the base game, we saw him beaten, disheveled, broken, dead. We saw him in so many different scenes, expressing so many different emotions. And I feel like that really... I mean, it subtly communicated that Doomslayer is a person. He is a man. Maybe not quite yet a god, but he is most definitely a man with his own story to tell. And I feel like in this DLC, it's going to expand on that more and really show us his backstory. Whereas, you know, if they just immediately dived into that pool, it would have been a little weird considering all of the established context we have with this character.
I think personally that it's going to be one of the most exciting bits of lore information. Maybe,
I think so.
Maybe since some of Eternal's revelations, but no pun intended, like legit. But
Yeah, for sure.
but I do think that those gameplay first purists in the Doom community, which is like half of them, will be a bit bothered if these are not optional sort of encounters. Like if these are slow, because there's probably gonna be some combat there, right? Some light combat here and there, but
Yeah, there will be.
the
for sure.
hospital scene and maybe those areas that might not have demons to fill in those gaps. I do think that it is going to be a bit of a slog for them. Personally, I think it's awesome because I don't think they'll be too in depth to sort of be a problem.
Well, I'll
as a
explain.
pace breaker,
I'm
but-
sorry. I'm sorry. It's the latency. I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
dude, you're good. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll say this. I think this is absolutely necessary. I feel like this isn't. I mean, this DLC, and what I love about it the most is you don't have to be a lore expert to enjoy this from a narrative point of view. Whereas with the other games, like me, I was kind of lost, you know, because I mean, I appreciate the aura. I like going up against these bosses. I like these cutscenes. Doomslayer is a ridiculously entertaining character. But I didn't really have a reason to care, you know, because all of the reasons to care was hidden in lore drops through codexes. Whereas with this, I feel like it's going to give me a far more emotional attachment to this character, to this world. You know, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this DLC is going to be the foundation of many of the events that happen in Eternal. It's kind of a prologue to that, you know?
It really is.
And that's what makes this so exciting. And I can definitely see the potential worry or fear that this DLC these set pieces gameplay wise is going to deviate too far away from the fast pace combat that's going to take up the bulk of the DLC. But I wouldn't necessarily view it like that. I wouldn't view it as this like clashing with the main gameplay loop. I'd see this as light deviations, kind of a little breakaway, because you have to remember as well, if this DLC is going to be so intense, I think it would really benefit to have a few sections where we can just take in the atmosphere, take in the ambience, and maybe just have a few light gameplay sequences where we're having the classic Doom gameplay. I mean, I don't necessarily see what's wrong with that. I get the purists might be a little bothered by it, but And maybe on subsequent replays it might be a little bothersome, but then again, people have wanted classic Doom games for a really long time now. So I feel like it's going to satisfy a whole bunch of people and give us something entirely new, which we haven't seen in quite some time, actually, if you're excluding the Doom ports, classic Doom ports.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Horde, before we move forward, do you want to take SCP's question real quick? That's a good question.
Which one?
His question about the classic missions and those being recreations of original levels with modern graphics.
So the nightmare levels are the nightmare levels are flashback levels. They are, as far as I'm aware, their own thing. They aren't like direct recreations of levels. The classic levels, which are a different thing, are the ones that are. It's not classic levels with modern graphics. It's classic levels with updated textures and sort of slightly changed environments.
Ray Trace Doom 2.
Yeah, pretty much Ray Trace Doom 2. The specific thing they talked about during the press stuff was that it's not like 2016's classic levels where they are just sort of pulled straight from the game. They have the same lighting, the same textures. They actually have sort of different PBR materials and stuff. So the water is more reflective than the walls, stuff like that. It's not going to be like full 3D assets. What it looks like in the trailer is what it's going to look like when you actually play it. But it is just better lighting than 2016's.
100%. Awesome.
It's really, really exciting.
But
which I was just gonna say, I for one am very excited about, because one of my biggest complaints about the classic levels in 2016, really cool idea, in execution, visually bland and super unbalanced. Like unbalanced to the extent that they're just not fun to play.
The ones you play from Mission Select are just brutal, dude. Like the Cyberdemon one was not tuned. He just spammed his basic attack. It wasn't unique. It was a cool gimmick. Don't get me wrong. It was awesome to see as a longtime Doom fan playing 2016 for the first time. But on replays, yeah, it's like definitely not something you go back to.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, before we move on as well, I just want to make this point because I haven't heard many people talk about this, but can we just appreciate the art direction of this DLC?
Some of the best, yeah.
I mean, can you go back to that image of, is it Osseous? I keep mispronouncing that one.
Oh, yeah, it's
beautiful. It's the Bone City. I want to see that concept art when I talk about this.
This one right here? Or the interior?
Just the exterior of like the concept where it shows like the whole. That's the one. Yeah, can we just appreciate? I mean, I'm gonna say this right now. I think this might be the most ambitious environments we've ever seen in a Doom game, because in Doom Eternal and Doom the Dark, especially in Doom the Dark Ages, I felt this might be a hot take. I felt like I'd seen, the cities of hell, the environments of hell. I feel like I've seen that before. But when I'm staring at Osseous, Hell's Core, staring at the Cosmic Realm, I've never seen anything like this depicted in this way. Like, these environments feel wholly unique. They feel entirely distinct, memorable. These locations look absolutely fantastic, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like in this DLC, they have taken all of their creativity, all of their experience in level design, art direction, all of that stuff, and really given it their all. Because, like, you have to remember, in DLCs, there is a lot of reused assets. A lot of DLCs are really half-assed, you know what I mean? I mean, sure, they put their effort in, but for the most part, they save their load for the base game. But I'm not getting this vibe here. I am far more impressed. I'm so sorry. I'm far more impressed with everything I've seen in this DLC than anything I was in the base game. I am so ridiculously hyped to see Osseous, Hell's Core, all that stuff. It looks incredible, truly.
They seem to put their best work in the DLCs, like, because they've mastered.
That's what I mean.
They mastered the formula and the philosophy of the main game, so now they can really like push it to the limit.
Improve on it.
Love Amora, love Bloodstorms, love USC Atlantica, love it all.
But with Osseous, yeah, man, the architecture is just amazing. That's probably what stands out to me the most. Like, we sort of have this, because it's still tonally, in terms of art direction, very dark, very medieval, and we can even see that carry over to what's a wasteland of bone. We see these spiky, bony structures that kind of resemble like the Gothic architecture of medieval castles and stuff.
That's what I love. It feels grotesque and visceral in a way we haven't quite seen with Hell yet. It feels it feels more like body horror in a way,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
we kind of saw in Dark Ages and Eternal, but this feels far more visceral, and I love that truly. You know, and I can really see the influence of I think his name's you know this one, so is it Beksinski? He's
I think the name sounds similar.
I know what
or,
you're talking
he's
about.
a-
Yeah.
he's a famous artist, and him and H.R. Geiger are incredibly influential when it comes to depicting these kind of environments. And I can absolutely tell that Hugo Martin, everyone at id Software, they have really taken some of the best artists that create environments like this and really adapted and taken their own vision on those concepts to give us something entirely unique and memorable. And that's what id Software does really well. They're really good at adapting, especially biblical scripture and various types of theological depictions of hell and
Tastefully
religious
adapting
kind of
them to make them
locations.
original and unique to
Yes,
fiction
exactly.
rather than
Yeah.
dark and
Yeah,
too
they
on the
give
nose.
their own twist. They give their own twist on it that makes sense for Doom's universe and makes sense in the context of this world. And I really do think id Software needs to be commended for that more, because that's one of their best qualities.
They truly are a team of Navy SEAls. I know Hugo stresses that all the time, but they really are. Like, not people. No one really realizes
best
that
at what they
Navy
do.
SEAls are the best of the best, right? And
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this team is just full of them. You know, we see some and go on the art team all the time, which is unfortunate. But we they always keep the greats. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, Icon. Oh, what were you gonna say? Something?
I was going to say, someone in the comments mentioned them bones when we were talking about the Bone City just now, and
Oh.
I was like, you know what? They better play Alice in Chains them bones, like the Adrian's asleep. They better reference Adrian's asleep in this track, because it's a whole take on them bones. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I wanted to expand on Boss's point with the biblical inspirations, parallels, stuff like that. There are, yeah, Doom is supposed to be like a inspiration. It's inspired by the Abrahamic hell and stuff like that. Me
every
and Icon,
adjacent religion.
yeah. Me and Icon were talking about and Ethan too. We were briefly discussing like the High Council and how they parallel to the Princes of Hell in some biblical scriptures, and that's a totally different conversation for another time. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Hugo said that they, if I remember correctly, they did take inspiration from the Seven Princes for the High Council, and he said something like it's sort of their own interpretation, but they'd sort of take the biblical stuff and just sort of like twist it over time, like they did with the Maker, stuff like that. And there are obviously, again, I'm not going to get into full detail into it, but once you really start looking into Hell and Doom and comparing it to not even just the Abrahamic Hell, but like different elements from different religions and even ancient religions at that, even Greek mythology, there are so many parallels, and I have to commend them for how much research they do.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. It's incredible.
It's amazing.
100%.
And even adapting things like Dante's Inferno, which is one of the core, even though Dante's Inferno is a fictional depiction of hell.
Yeah, that sort of became like the common standard for hell.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's become a consensus. It's become it's adapted in various movies, media. It's pretty digestible. I think that's why I'm so sorry. I think why that hell is revered by so many to be like the canon hell is because it's very easy to understand, and it makes sense of a place that's entirely ambiguous in its design, to invoke fear within people. And
Yeah.
I like what they're doing with this is you can even kind of see how id Software took inspiration from the concept, because if people don't know, Dante's Inferno is essentially a descent into hell that becomes more sinful and more desolate and scary or evil the further you descend down into its depths. And the final layer of hell is the domain of Satan, and below that is the actual exit from Dante's Inferno. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. in the final.
Maybe
if I'm not
Osius
mistaken,
is how we
Icon.
get back to Argent Denor. Then hold up, you're
Yeah,
onto something
Well,
there.
that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a very good
Yeah.
parallel to Dante's Inferno that they seem to be really referring to in terms of purgatory here.
Yeah, I would agree, but before we have like any thought of the DLC, like any knowledge, I had assumed like Amora was the parallel to Treachery in Dante's Inferno. And now that we see Hell's Core, that seems like that's what it is. Because even though that Doom likes to take a lot of inspirations, it also does some original stuff. So maybe Amora is just sort of a more original thing, and Hell's Core is sort of like the Treachery parallel. SPCHC said something. By the way, I love your mixes. I listen to them when I play God of War. But the color piece in the art book refers to the Harbor Souls as the River Styx, and again, that's incredible. And it goes back to something I was saying earlier about how it's sort of like a adaptation of many different cultures and traditions over time. And I was about to spiel into something else, but it's again Navy SEAL parallel, and awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool aspects to how they sort of depict the layers of hell, and I'd like to see more. I'd like them to show us more layers in future installments. Maybe not yet because this is a DLC and they're already showing us a few. But yeah, kind of going onward, I would like to talk about the first and final mission. Right, I want to talk about Hell's Core and the adjacent missions there, with there being 5 missions in a purgatory. But the first and last. I would like to get into, but before that, we need to dive into the villains themselves, the new bosses
The High
and entities.
Council.
So
The
let's
Order of...
exactly.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, welcome back, dude.
Yep.
So now we're before we jump into Uprising and the Proving Grounds, let's sort of go into the villains that we can expect to see before we kind of cap off how we think the story's going to end. So personally, I have counted about 4 central villains, that being the High Council, the Conmaker as a sort of background villain through like the lore and the theme, right?
Overarching.
Basically her and the internal struggle of the Argenta being a central antagonist. Then we have Merrick, the Maker Merrick that we see, which I'm very excited to see the most probably. And we also have this sort of what we are referring to as the Abomination, that the High Council summons to defeat the Slayer and send him to Hell's Core to begin with. So let's start off with the High Council. So this is the big question. Do we think we are beating the High Council in this DLC? Do you think they're a background villain that will die? Or do you think that this is something that will be shelved and built up for the next game, essentially?
Definitely not killing them in this one. That would, if you think about it, we're about to be sent to Hell's Core in Purgatory. Presumably spend most of that DLC campaign trying to escape it. So if we spent all that time trying to escape it, that would leave us with what, like the final level to go kill 6 Hell Lords? I mean,
Right.
that's just way too much crammed into the expansion. It's a mountain on top of a mountain. And
Sorry, just real
I very
quick,
much do
did you
not
step
think they
away
would
from your
touch on
mic just now, like mid-sentence?
yeah, you did. I heard it.
that. What's up?
Did you step away from your mic just now, like mid-sentence?
I didn't mean to.
No, like your volume just went down a lot.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Is it still down?
Yeah, I'll turn you up. You're good. Yeah, but continuing forward, yeah, I agree. I do think it'll be a bit underwhelming and a sort of repeat of the issue with Devoth, and I think that is something that they are atoning for with the High Council. You know, they want a big overarching antagonist, like a huge new rival to the Slayer. You know, him defeating them in their first face-to-face encounter, and to atone for the sort of not failure of Devoth, but the failure to explore Devoth as a character, because he is supposed to be the final overarching villain. So to fix that, they are giving us the High Council, and they are building them up heavily in this DLC, showing us their backstory, showing us some of their structure and the rule of hell. And the next game, if it is a sequel to this game, which I think it will be, then we can easily see them either die or pick them off throughout the campaign, kind of like the Hell Priest from Eternal.
I think these are the guys. These are the main antagonists of the next game. If they continue to go down the medieval route, which is pretty much likely.
We can
But
expect that, yeah. I think
yeah,
it's safe to
I
say.
think that unlike a Hell Priest and Devoth, we're gonna get a lot more time with them, and these guys have been built up to like in 2016 and Eternal, and I think it's gonna be a lot more satisfying to face them because again, they've been built up to in the last couple of games, and now that we have like a sort of background for who they're going to be in the DLC, it's going to be it's going to be a lot more satisfying to
I agree.
want to kill them
Yeah.
and
I,
spend time with
I
them.
was thinking, do you guys think we would see them multiple times throughout the DLC? Because I think we will, like maybe 1-2 men. Like we'll see them all at once at the beginning, and then it'll just be like 1-2 members at a time.
So I've been
And all
very vocal on the idea that we will see them interact with the Con Maker and or Devoth with this whole deal thing, maybe as a post-credit scene, maybe as an in-game thing before the climax or after the climax. However, if they are the ones tapping into the Slayer's mind to sort of break him throughout the game, which we see is a big him sort of cleansing his soul is a big element to it, then maybe we can see something there, you know? Because the cutscenes this time around with the Dark Ages aren't just face to face. We see a lot of jumps between perspectives, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could easily do that, and I hope they do. But regardless, it would be fine if they just delegated them to just another scene at the end or something, or just with the Con Maker. Maybe
Yeah.
throughout the game, you see her report back to the High Council, and they update the Slayer, the Con about the Slayer. Who knows?
I'm hoping that happens because I would like to see them more than once. Otherwise, it just kind of
Yeah.
like build up and then a bit of nothing.
Right.
I'd love for them to like maybe near the end, just like when the main story is just all done and it's over, they just sort of report back to Davos like on exactly
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened.
It's like spiritually, like a
Hey, I don't
communion
know.
or something.
I have to. Well, I don't know why I'm saying again because I never brought this up. They could easily bring back Davos, like in the form of a voice, because his voice actor is actually the same voice actor for King Novik.
King
So,
Novik, and we've seen it the same way in 2016. He interacted with the Slayer several times throughout Hell, outside of the
yeah,
Testaments.
he was kind of like warning the demons and telling
Yeah.
like what was going on. Although, actually, yeah, it's
Yeah. So he's clearly in the picture, even at this point in time. But Boss Drinker, I'm going to let you kind of answer this question. So something that a lot of people have theorized is the High Council, with them being a sort of stand-in for the seven deadly sins aspect of Hell. They think that there's going to be a leader, right? Whoever that leader is unknown. It was originally assumed to be Erebus,
Erebus.
but that's kind of something that is not retconned away, but was never beyond a concept phase. But is there a leader in the seven deadly sins?
Not from my understanding. Not from my understanding, because I mean, unless Soap has something to say about this.
Yeah, so I'm a bit knowledgeable on this. If I remember correctly, there is no like set ruler of hell besides, of course, Satan.
Okay, yeah,
the
that was my
seven
question.
princes, yeah, the seven princes of hell don't really, they don't they don't really have a leader. They just sort of they're actually very similar to the High Council. They also rule hell alongside Satan, and they are just like a the thing about the seven princes is that Satan and Lucifer are actually listed upon like as members, but the Western tradition has sort of merged them together. So, and this is a sort of a spiel, but TLDR, they do not have like a
Okay.
complete leader, if I remember correctly.
Well, something that is interesting is because we see them kind of act in unison, like one voice. Whenever they say, "Beneath this chamber will be your tomb," you know, and they kind of send him and speak to him, and kind of like the whole Legion phenomenon, like we are many, we are one. They kind of speak to him with that sort of joint power. So I do wonder if there is going to be like a big boss or not.
I assumed that voice was Belias.
I thought that was a possibility, but it does sound different to me.
Maybe
I might be
it's
wrong,
Belias
but it did
Amnum?
sound different, a different voice effect.
I mean, I'll say this. I'll say a few things. I'll go on a little ramble here. I think the
BRB.
High Council as antagonists, I truly believe this will be the best villains we've ever seen in Doom. I know we haven't seen that much of them. I know, but just like based on this image alone, like I can't think of anything cooler than this image that I've seen from an antagonist in this series. Like everything about this scene looks absolutely fantastic. The stakes are already established with Flint Taggart as a character. And in a sense, he's kind of facing his demons. He's facing an entire roster of big bads which have caused all of the inequities of his life. And I think what's going to really cement these guys as threats, because you have to remember, at this point in the series, Doomslayer has had no trouble taking out the demons. Even Azrak, it wasn't too much of a big deal. I mean, sure, there was a little bit of difficulty at the beginning, but in the same encounter, Doomslayer comes out on top. You know what I mean? But in this scene, all 6 of these, well, I think the champion's the one who defeats Slayer, but the champion's still overruled by these, the Order of the Six. And I think this scene is really going to cement these guys as villains, someone to be feared, villains to be kind of revered in this universe. And we've never really seen that before, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Because the thing with Davos and the thing with every villain is, yeah, they look cool, but they don't feel like a threat because we know how powerful the Slayer is. The Slayer feels like a boss fight in their respected boss fights, you know what I mean? But with this, no, it's not the case. These guys are going to absolutely decimate the Doomslayer. They're going to send him down the circles of hell. And I think this could be a controversial opinion, but I think what would make these guys 10 times more effective is if we don't even see the High Council interact with the Slayer after this moment. I think if they break him, dishevel him, send him down the circles, they treat him like dust under their shoe. Dirt under their shoe. And I think that'd be really cool. And then maybe in the sequels, we can have the Doomslayer rising up into his own power level and actually build up the strength and the skill to take all of these villains head on. And I think that would make for a more satisfying journey.
Well, having such a big jump between him meeting them and then facing them again, which I do agree. I do not think the Slayer himself will see the council
won't
directly.
Happen
right?
again.
I don't think it will.
It won't happen in this DLC. No, it won't.
But I do think that, to your point, having such a big gap between communication and losing and not being able to do anything about it and having to deal with Argent Denor, he's going to have this pent-up rage for the High Council, who is like really the first thing besides, Azrak kind of doing cheaply absorbing Wraith energy. This is the first big threat to sort of give the Doomslayer like a wake-up call, like, holy crap, what just happened? Like, what? Like it was a slap fight, what's it called?
And that's
slap?
what I mean. Yeah, and that's what makes this so powerful, in my opinion, because if you ask me, Revelations is the true birth of the Doomslayer. I mean, it's the true birth of Rage within this character. Because, I mean, Rage is already established to be his core trait and his core source of power. But in this DLC, we're going to see a more visceral and personal element of the Rage within the Doomslayer. We're going to see why he's so angry. And what makes him so angry is the fact that in this moment, he is going to get a wake-up call. He's going to realize, oh, I am not the most powerful thing in this universe yet. And that's where the armor's going to get broken down. That's when this persona, this attachment to the Night Sentinels, the humanity, everything within the Doomslayer that sort of grounds him will be shattered and broken. So when we enter Hell's Core, it gives the Slayer an opportunity to rebuild himself and redefine the symbol of the Slayer and kind of create the symbol of fear within the demons and within the land of hell, within the realm of hell. And I think that's what's made... That's truly why I believe this DLC is going to have the most compelling story. Because it is going to be a... no, that's not going to work. But it's going to be a redemption story in the sense of power.
The hero's journey.
Really compelling. The hero's journey, yeah, why not? That works.
We kind of had that with Dark Ages, but that was more of towards the final act. So we kind of have this sort of breakdown of the Slayer again, and have that story retold in a more fleshed out sense.
That's what I mean. And what I really love about the flashbacks too is it gives us more opportunities to indulge in rage, and it gives us, we've seen the Slayer broken down, so he's already quite literally vulnerable. The armor has been stripped from him. And then he's going to have to face his inner demons and sort of, face his past in a way he hasn't faced in a really long time. And what I really like about the Slayer is I truly believe his source of power, and similar to like Darth Vader, is indulging in the rage and the horror of his most secluded memories. And I think what I really like about the High Council, and I hope they do this, is they're going to take his memories, his main source of power, and twist it into a way that kind of enrages himself even more, trying to twist his own source of power and even break that and take that away from him. And I think that's really psychological and really messed up, and I like that.
I really hope
yeah,
his
man.
time in Hell's Core, especially Purgatory, maybe even with the Wretch, that we sort of see his emotion and reaction to this more, like in his mannerisms, his expressions and stuff. Especially because this time we
Yes.
will see a more expressive Slayer, right? Immediately when he gets beaten, we see his face, and further beyond because he loses his helmet. So yeah, that's a very good point, dude.
And like in the base, like now he needs help. Like he didn't need help before.
Yeah.
Now he needs help.
And he gets help from a
So,
demon
that'll
of all
be good.
things. He stoops as
Yeah.
low as to get help from a demon. That's how high the stakes are. Yeah,
Real quick as well, I'm just going to dip for a second to make some coffee.
totally good. That's be your
Of
fifth cup of the day.
All right. I'll be back in a second.
Kind of moving on, guys. Yeah, basically with the High Council, the Order of the Six, them serving Devoth directly, the Dark Lord, I do think that building up their character to be a new arch nemesis for the overall story is a great idea, and they'll be shelled for a later entry. But for now, we see that they summon an abomination, or sort of create an abomination that sends the Slayer to his purgatory. Who do y'all think that is? And I'll let you go first, Horde. There's a few different options there.
So you're asking who I think that big mutant fella is?
Yes.
I think Belias is certainly an option, especially since there's like a single frame in the reveal trailer where you can actually kind of see the Abomination's face, or one of them. It actually seems like it has two different faces.
Could.
So I actually, an interesting theory
Emerges.
is that
Go ahead.
yeah, it merges with it's Belias merging with something the Slayer fights initially. So
Interesting.
maybe the you get like a mini boss battle. The Slayer wins, and it's kind of like, well, the High Council's champion wasn't really all that tough, and then Belias merges with whatever it is, and it becomes so much stronger, and it kind of beats his ass, and it's like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like that was
What about
only
the,
round one.
You
Eggadon.
you said merged, and my first thought was because like multiple faces, like what if it's all the Hell Priests?
Interesting.
Yeah, because there is a few that we see, like the one that's kind of like, there is one with like a red dot on his head, if I'm not mistaken, or like maybe it's a Cyclops, I can't remember, but Belias seems to be a popular theory because we see him in the chamber, and then whenever the abomination gets summoned, we can't see him anymore. He could be obscured or dead or something, but regardless, it'd be pretty funny.
It would be admittedly funny if they summoned the Abomination and it just fucking kills Belias immediately.
Or he enters the council's chamber, and this is at least half of this I mentioned in the group chat before. I mentioned the idea of what if this isn't Belias and this is something new, and basically the Slayer waltzes into the chamber, and similar to the guy in River Styx, the priest there, he just blows his head off immediately, and there goes that character in just a sort of comedic relief type way. And then that's whenever maybe, to add on to that theory now, maybe he gets resurrected as the Abomination.
That's pretty neat. I
That
like
would be
that.
sick. I mean, I was gonna mention at the end of the game, base game, Belias has 2 Eggadons with him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like bodyguards. Ooh, okay, yeah. You have a fair point.
Maybe he fuses with them.
yeah, exactly.
You know what? He did have this sort of like tough to him, the Abomination. So I wonder if there's like a sort of goatee aspect to the Aggadons. I wonder if that's a possibility, man. Honestly, I like his stomach mouth. Honestly, I don't really see any other demons with any similar design languages, but I do like that. It's very freaky. But
He's just a sick, like, I'm so excited to see his design. It just
I
looks
am
sick.
too. I think Samir
Jackie
had a mock-up.
Puppet Soul. Don't. We're not doing that. Don't ask that.
Wait,
We'll
what do you
talk about
say?
that in chat. Asking if there's any girls here.
That's
We're not doing that. We're not.
Yeah, come on, guys.
we're
I
not
don't
doing
want
that
to
right
have
now,
to
man.
mute anybody. I don't mute anybody out of ill intent. It's just because I can't keep blocking those comments. Yeah, guys, just keep it nice. But so alternatively, if it's
Sorry.
not Elias, it could easily be a council member, just one, and this is how we get one off the playing field later in game if we rematch him towards the end. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's less likely because I've never seen the council to be foot soldiers or handle things directly. We have never seen that really with anything we've heard of them or seen of them in this trailer. So it's
I do
interesting.
like the idea that after Azric is put down and the witch, they're kind of like, maybe we got to take care of this Doom guy ourselves. Maybe it's
Fine, I'll do
maybe
it
it's time we
myself.
sort of yeah, maybe it's time we step off our thrones and smack him around a bit, show him who's really the boss around here.
Yeah, and it could be like one of the lesser council members, or if there is a like big council member, but I don't know. That is a very fair take. And if that's not the case, it could easily be just a new character, sort of summoned by the council themselves, and just maybe something I have kind of theorized. It's a new entity they've created previously and summoned here. Like they planned this, and this is their sort of take on a nemesis type entity that's sole purpose is kind of like the nemesis lived to hunt stars and get them off the playing field. This abomination was created as a direct entity to confront the Slayer.
I do like that idea as well.
It's interesting.
So do we think, and maybe that's something you were going to get onto eventually, and we can hold off if it is, but do we think the Abomination will appear for a second boss fight where we win against it?
Yes.
Yes, so this, and I was going to get into that soon, because we do have bosses. So in terms of final boss, I do think he is a likely candidate. I do think that if we're not going to kill the council, we definitely have to get revenge on this guy. That way that the Slayer's sort of rage is temporarily subdued, because he lost to this entity. And he can't quite get revenge on the council yet, so we're definitely going to face him. Maybe not as the final boss, but maybe before he returns to Argent Denor, he follows him to wherever,
Oh yeah, that is someone. Let's see, SPCHC in chat says the DLC description says defeat an abomination of the gods. While they could be referring to what we're talking about as the abomination, I've actually always. Or, well, I say always, it's been a month, but I've just figured that's Merrick.
Right, and that's a great segue to talk about Merrick.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Merrick a lot.
Yeah, we're going to now. So Merrick is the big story selling point of this DLC, it seems. Him and his sort of manipulation from the Con Maker. So do you just want to give us a brief description, Horde, about what's going on with Merrick right now?
I mean, as far as I'm aware, it just seems like he has sort of willingly given himself as the Khan's champion in place of the Slayer, since he obviously has his sort of from the Codex we learn he doesn't entirely agree with the Doomslayer being having that power and being off a leash. So it does make sense that he would willingly give himself to be empowered and to be under control of the Con Maker. And she's using that to keep him in hell as sort of a last resort, I would imagine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
He's got the tether, he's got the eyes, he's got
it is
all that fun stuff.
We see a brief portion of gameplay, and he does have a parryable attack, so we will for sure be fighting Merrick. And to me, at least, it doesn't make sense that we would fight Merrick if it wasn't like a direct thing from the Con Maker, wanting to keep us in hell and wanting to keep us away from Argent Denor for whatever reason.
I've been muted, and I didn't know.
What?
I've been muted. My apologies. Go ahead.
Is my microphone good now, by the
Yeah,
way?
you're perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so one thing I want to point out, since you have the picture of Merrick up, is that he does actually have the Marauder symbol on his blade, on the hilt.
100%. And that, because someone pointed out we see it with the Slayer Sentinel armor, this could be an elite status symbol. And alternatively, or additionally even, this could have been adapted by the Sentinels during the whole Marauder movement with the Civil War.
Very likely.
As their sort of, new symbol, like their new cross sort of deal there. Instead of the Slayer, it's this. While the Sentinels who remained loyal to the Wraiths and stuff, they sort of adapted the Slayer symbol. But yeah.
I do want to point out, or I guess just suggest, I do wonder if maybe the con maker is sending Merrick here in hopes that the Slayer will kill him and it will sort of discredit him amongst the Sentinels. So it's sort of a manipulation of like, this guy, we're going to send this guy to kill you, or you can kill him and bring his corpse back to Argentinor and have to look his father in the face and tell him that,
So
he took
the
his
Slayer
son's life.
will be held responsible, sort of in the story. I find that interesting, which I do think that will happen to an extent. Their rivalry and their conflict here will spark something within the Argenta. Maybe not with the outcome if he doesn't die, but I do think their rivalry and maybe where Valen leans politically, having a place in politics there, will sort of spark something within the Argenta society. I will say, go ahead.
Icon, you have. I just want to give another shout out to Just Good Not Great. He made a amazing sort of sketch for Mir. Do you have that?
The storm. I was like an hour behind, dude. I wasn't able to gather the stuff I needed and stuff. I'm sorry, dude. I tried my best. He has some great art, which I'll showcase definitely the next stream, because we will be talking about this DLC as much as we can. But he did some great stuff with his Merrick concepts and some other things with horns and whatnot. But we'll talk about that, and I can show that off in future streams. But for now,
I
let's
wanted to just
go ahead.
Before we move on, I just want to comment on Merrick. Like in the base game, we sort of see how Merrick interacts with his father and the Slayer. A cutscene that comes to mind is the scene where the Doom guy gets resurrected. Merrick's sort of like standing back and just looking at the ghoul, and Valen's there, and Doom guy looks on the ground.
Yeah, he's not involved. He's like in the background, and he even wants to leave. He's like, hey, I'm going back to battle. Like, what are we doing here? Like he doesn't trust the Slayer. He doesn't think what they're doing will work or is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So we don't know if the Khan will manipulate him or not. We know that she can see into Merrick that he doesn't have the same opinion of the Slayer as everyone else does. I don't know if she actually manipulates him or if he's just willing to, as Horde said. But a big question I have, and a lot of people, even Midnight, seem to have this theory. I just disagree with it entirely. Is him being put through the Divinity Machine. I do think was blessed or given some sort of maker power to some extent, but the Divinity Machine just seems off the table to me. What do you guys think of that, Horde?
I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's not really much to do with the Divinity Machine. I mean, it's used to bring the Marauders back to life once they die.
In a demonic
the
form.
Civil War. Yeah. So I don't really think putting him in the Divinity Machine would really do anything, would it? I mean, he's like, all the powers went to the Slayer, so is there anything left to give him?
Well, because it does resurrect the fallen Marauders or the fallen Sentinels, the Loyalists in the form of Marauders. Kind of begs the question: is there a shard or an essence of the shard left? I should say of Devoth's power that kind of powered them and flowed through them. But regardless, we have seen that there was multiple and who knows how many, maybe even hundreds of instances where Sentinels were subjugated into being put in there only to die or be driven mad or lose a fraction of themselves. So it's interesting.
That's true.
That theory is interesting to me, and a lot of people seem to be rolling with it. But because Merrick's not a primable, he couldn't absorb the power. That's the whole reason the Slayer was able to take it. I did see the argument of Samur reverse the polarity, but I don't think that matters.
I do want to point out I'm not, when it comes to like specifically some of the Civil War Divinity Machine stuff, I guess I'm not probably as caught up as you are. But do we think maybe once the Khan kind of took control of the Divinity Machine during the Civil War, maybe it was sort of tampered with? Maybe Argent energy flows through it, so it's
Ooh, good point.
not only is it just resurrecting these guys, but it's also infusing them with this demonic essence.
Yeah, instead of maker
Argent energy.
magic, maybe that would make the Slayer have a more of a means to actually kill Merrick. Then, if that's the case, if he has the
That's what I'm
essence
wondering.
of Argent within him, that's a
If
that's a
maybe
good
the
point.
first ever bit of Argent energy they create here with this maker technology in Hell is, even if it's not technically legitimate full Argent energy, maybe it is used to sort of enhance Merrick to some extent. I don't feel like the Divinity Machine will play a part, but I mean,
I don't
I've
think so
been
either.
wrong about a lot of stuff, so
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is about that and why I think it could potentially be in the ballpark. I don't think it will be, but the only reason I bring it up is because Hugo did say that a lot of Midnight's theory was correct. It was like, that's pretty accurate, and he even shared it and talked about it multiple times. But
oh yeah.
I don't know, But regardless, there's clearly some maker magic going through him. I don't think they would have sent him to face the Slayer if that wasn't the case, thinking he would even win, unless Horde's point is right about him just, simply being a means to rile up the Argenta.
True.
But yeah, as a boss fight though, how do y'all think this will go? Do you think we'll get 2 boss fights? Because we see him presumably like maybe at his ascension from Hell's Core here, unless he gets the suit beforehand. Who knows? But he's kind of coming up at these gates, and then Merrick kind of meets him there to stop him. Do you think this is his boss fight, or do you think we can see something later in the game as well, like as the climax?
I think this is his fight.
Yeah, I feel like also we'll only get one fight with him. I do know people are theorizing that we might fight him multiple times. I feel like having 2 characters, including the Abomination of Merrick, that we might fight twice would be a little much. Because at that point, I think it would feel almost like they are reusing bosses too much. So I don't necessarily feel like they're... I feel like we'll confront Merrick at some point, and that's his boss fight, which is what we're seeing here.
I
Yeah,
agree.
agree.
I think that's pretty much what's gonna happen. I think that, because we already have 4, basically 4 confirmed boss fights so far. We have the champion, which we're going to be fighting in the council chamber. We have Marek, the final boss, and who's the secret final boss again? I forgot.
Zalgora.
That's right. I can't
The
believe I
Uber
forgot
boss,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Optional.
the Colossi. Yeah.
Yuba.
Yeah, I don't see the I agree with Horde completely. I don't see the relevance of I don't see why they'd have us fight Marek multiple times. It doesn't make much sense. And it would also lessen the impact of Marek's presence in this story. Because I feel like multiple boss fights with villains, they should really only be saved for main antagonists. Kind of like Azrak, how we fought him twice.
Sure.
It doesn't really make sense for Marek,
In this
considering he's
case,
going to
right?
be more of a side antagonist than anything else. It doesn't really make sense for us to fight him multiple times. I think we'll fight him, defeat him, and then see the outcome of that event within the story itself. I don't think we'll necessarily fight him twice, though.
Yeah, I do think regardless, his conflict and potential death will be what causes the first flames of this Civil War era, because we're not getting the Civil War.
Yes,
we're getting the
yes,
beginning,
I
right?
agree.
We're not getting the discovery of the nature of the essence, because that happens later, right? But we are getting this sort of revolution, like where we're getting a little split here. And I'm
Yeah,
glad they're
I
developing
agree.
this because that was a very interesting background plot point with the Dark Ages is Merrick and his subtle hints of his distaste for the Slayer, you know, with those few scenes he was in.
I agree.
I,
I think if they could really. Oh, I'm sorry, Horde. I
No, you go
interrupted
ahead.
you.
No, you go ahead, Nick.
Okay. I was also saying it'd be really cool to see the development of that, maybe, because we saw subtle indications, like you said, Icon, of the Marek's distaste for the Slayer. I think it would be really interesting, maybe, if they develop on that, maybe during the introductory cutscenes of the expansion. And maybe later on we could have like Marek's almost corruption and possession. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say possession, corruption by the Khan Maker, and you know, his basically his descent into hatred for the Slayer. I think that would be really interesting. I really hope Marek just doesn't pop out the blue as a big boss fight.
Yeah.
I really want to see his character. I really want to see his character arc and how, you know, he basically descends into villainy. I think that'd be interesting.
I think we can expect there to be a scene towards the beginning, maybe with Valen sharing his opinion on that, or maybe them butting heads about it or arguing, or him warning or begging Merrick, you know, to not
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
what he seems to be doing here. I'd like to see some
But,
of that. It would make
but,
the
I'm-
loss very more tragic. Good.
I was just saying, I really want to hear what Horde has to say before we move on.
Oh, I was gonna ask, do you guys think Merrick will die in the expansion? Not even just by the hands of the Slayer. Do you think? Because I think it's entirely possible that the Slayer doesn't kill him, and then the Khan uses the tether device to kill him anyways.
Well, can I?
If that really is their
That's actually
goal.
that's a really good theory, honestly.
Ooh,
that-
good point. Yeah.
That is, wow.
You
That seems likely. That seems likely.
you seem to catch better than anyone here, and I've seen you even kind of mention it to people who asked you about the story of the DLC, knowing Merrick will be involved, knowing all this stuff. But one of the first hints was not only Merrick and the Slayer butting heads, but there not being enough time to tell the story of the death of Merrick. But it seems that we can get it here.
Yeah,
So it is interesting.
it is very interesting.
But I don't know. I think if we saw it, I would like Valen to be present for it. Maybe that's why it haunts him so much. I would like to see Valen. Maybe if he is the final boss for like the secondary final boss, or in the climax, he's kind of thrown in there by the Khan one more time. And since he's on Argent Denor, the Slayer, maybe we see him sort of go to the ring with Merrick, and everyone's there to witness it. And he's kind of
Well,
forced to.
I do wonder if it would maybe add fuel to Valen's betrayal if they didn't see it, so he never has the 100% certainty that the Slayer didn't actually kill Merrick. There's always that thought in the back of his mind of maybe the Slayer really did kill my son, and that's part of what leads to him betraying the Sentinels. Is
Very
you know
good point.
maybe my faith in the Slayer this whole time was wrong. Hell's offering to bring my son back, and they previously said the Slayer killed him, so.
Interesting. Okay, I like that. I do like that. Well, with that in mind,
much-
go ahead.
I was gonna ask really quick. How much more time were we hoping?
I was thinking another 25 minutes, kind of
That works for
round
me.
this
That
off.
works for
Yeah,
me.
cool, awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't want this to be quite 3 hours. I think 2.5 is a good time. We did have
Oh,
to
yeah, for
start
sure.
a bit late, unfortunately, guys, through the storm and the technical difficulties because of the storm resetting everything. But yeah, I would like to just go on and move on to kind of talk about the Khan Maker here. Where essentially she will be acting as the background antagonist. With her works with Hell and the High Council, maybe even with her deal, harnessing Hell's energy, but also sparking all this icon of bad weather. That's hilarious. But yeah, no, sparking all this conflict within the Sentinel Society, whether it's intentional or not, whether she meant for Merrick to just pique the interest of the Argento or not, but she is kind of manipulating the Sentinels that, hey, the Slayer's gone, this is a good thing, like, are you not at peace now that the war is away from y'all because the Slayer's gone? You know what I mean? Like, the Slayer is dealing with the war right now, but with that kind of in their minds, there's, you know, they're kind of raising their eyebrows again because at the end of the Dark Ages main campaign, we saw that split start happening with the distrust of the makers. They didn't stop worshipping them; they just essentially started kind of questioning them. But with Novik kind of at the helm of it all, kind of directing them forward, we see some Sentinels might kind of fall off that bandwagon with the Khan's influence. But I do think that I saw some talks about her being a boss fight. I don't think that's the case. I think that's just too.
No, absolutely not.
That's just too. And honestly, Boss Ranker is the one who told me this, and kind of put this into perspective. The best is that would take away from her climactic battle and just antagonistic force in Eternal. If now we just shifted gears and had her back again in a prequel as a boss.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I actually don't even think we will. I highly doubt we will have any sort of conflict with the Khan in sort of a big way. I feel like obviously the Slayer will be betrayed, but I don't think he'll ever figure out that it was him or that it was the Khan that betrayed him directly. Like that she had full intentions of it. I feel like in order for them to actually properly set up the Civil War, I don't think they can really have the Khan Maker be sort of discovered as a betrayer amongst the Sentinel people.
Right.
I don't think they can do that right now.
100%. Kind of an idea I have about the Khan Maker is with all this stuff going on in the Sentinel Society, unknown entirely, kind of playing both sides here with the demons and the Sentinels. While she's doing all this, she is working directly with Hell, presumably, but her interest seems to be in the dark essence of the heart of Hell, right? The truest, darkest, purest form of Hell's essence, right? And so maybe the Slayer gets word of this while he's in Hell's core. Maybe the Wretch tells him. Who knows? And he knows that that's what the Khan's after. Oh, that's the biggest. That's where the energy comes from. Okay, let me go destroy it. Let me go to Osius. And maybe a big plot point is the Khan tries to prevent him from doing that somehow. But hard.
I mean,
to
that
say.
makes sense to me.
Hard to say how that would happen though, without a boss fight or something.
I do sort of wonder if the Slayer's mission isn't actually in any way related to the Khan intentionally. If it's sort of just like, okay, in order to, as a part of my mission to sort of get back to Argentinor, I am going to hopefully shut down this sort of energy production thing in Hell, and that inadvertently starts to ruin the Khan's plans. So he doesn't actually know what the Khan is up to. He just accidentally
Right.
goes after what she desires.
Well, with the Wretch knowing everything, kind of another plot point I had was like the Wretch not only just kind of building your armor, but maybe he also provides your objectives to you, kind of fills you in with everything that's going on. And I feel like if he has all this knowledge and stuff, he would probably know about the Maker stuff. I would like for the Slayer to kind of formulate his like get that knowledge on his own for the most part, but I do think that the Wretch will push him in that direction.
I do hope that we don't have any comms from the Wretch. I do think it would be cool if we got our objectives by returning to him face to face instead of having just another character that spills lore and objectives into our ear.
Yeah, like exposition bot essentially.
Yeah.
It was done tastefully with Hayden in
destroyed, right?
2016, but not in Eternal. What's that?
His suit, it's gone for at least most of the game, so
It can
you
still have an
wouldn't
ear
have no
piece.
way to. Well, I suppose, right? But I don't know. It would be cool if they, like you're saying, if there wasn't any of that, and that's implement it.
I
Basically,
do like that.
Destroyed.
But just before we kind of shift away from the villains, do you? I had something else to say about the Khan, but I forgot. I guess that's about it. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a big climactic moment with the Khan and the Sentinels when the Slayer gets back, but I think that's the only time the Slayer will see her face to face. Good.
Well, not you go ahead because this is not related directly to
Okay.
the Khan.
Yeah, we know they're talking at the beginning, presumably through the Creed ship with that holographic sort of depiction there. But I think that the only other time there will be direct interaction outside of just cutscenes with the Sentinels is that final scene when the Slayer gets back. If that's the final mission, of course. But yeah, you go ahead with your point though.
Someone in chat, let me find it. In the beginning of the trailer, we see Doomguy clutching his stab wound from Azric, tired and seemingly in bad shape. What do we think about that?
Yeah, I was
And I
actually
think
gonna.
that's a good question.
Yeah, I was going to get into this because now that we talked about the demons, perfect segue, dude. Before I wanted to talk about the villains, or excuse me, before we talk about the proving grounds and the final mission, we have to understand the villains, right? Because those are very big focal points of those missions. So the proving grounds, right, is presumably where that cutscene is from.
Oh yeah.
And we noticed there that for that entire mission, it seems, he is in his Dark Ages armor. So it's before the time jump, before he gets it destroyed. That mission is going to be entirely before the Council's confrontation and leading up to it. But we see that in the trailer, there are snippets of him having these hallucinations, right, in that armor. Do you think maybe this could be the result of him having a hallucination and then, like, getting beat up by some demons? And then that's what we see there, like, is him, like, kind of reacting to it after in a cutscene?
I think that's very possible. I think it would make sense for... So, from what we've seen so far, it seems like anytime the demons are able to sort of quote-unquote beat the Slayer, it's by outsmarting him, not outpowering him. So it would make sense if they bring him... So, I would imagine the Khan tells him of the Order of the Six, the High Council's location, but doesn't tell him about the fact that it's not just a challenge of strength to approach them, but also a mental challenge as well. So I would not doubt if he is sort of caught off guard by having these forced flashbacks,
Right.
before fighting them. So that makes him vulnerable.
What I was going to say about the Khan, actually, while on the topic of proving grounds as a mission, was I was going to mention, this was what I forgot, is that we see her talking to the Slayer and then kind of later in cahoots with Hell. Do you think that she is the reason the Slayer got ambushed? Do you think she either led the Slayer there falsely, like under a false influence, or is the one who informed the council of him coming?
I definitely think she had some sort of something to do with that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hood, on your point of the hallucinations and stuff. In the Slayer Testaments, they talk about how he's unyielding, incorruptible, stuff like that. In my opinion, the base game shows that he's unyielding. You know, when he dies, he's not really dead. But now they're doing the he's incorruptible. So he sees his memories. He's got to fight his own past and become incorruptible.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's
Out of that
from
point, I like that.
That's from the point of view of after this. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's not bad. I like that.
that's very interesting. Let's talk about that relic. And I know Absolute Doc has a lot of opinions about it, but I wasn't able to kind of get to them because we really have a lot to talk about here. But that relic. So obviously, maybe the Khan points him in this direction to get it, but he somehow learns about it, and it gives him access to the chamber. I can't remember who. I think it was yours, Horde. Do you want to give us your theory about the sort of trial aspect to that?
That he has to complete a series of trials to prove he's worthy of being in the council's presence.
Yeah, and you think that's connected to the relic, or am I mistaken there?
I do.
Yeah.
I believe the entire reason he has to like pick that up and hold it against the door or whatever, I believe he's probably got I think it's like what, 3 holes in the
Yes.
the disc. So I would imagine we have to complete 3 trials before we can approach the thing. And if to actually tying it into the mission structure itself, I would imagine it's one of those missions with open objectives like Siege Part 1,
Oh, yeah,
where you
good
have to
point.
go. You would probably go, choose at your own pace. But I would imagine that's how it would be. And you would do the 3 trials, unlock the door. You would probably... I don't know why the Slayer would still have the disc, even when he gets to Purgatory. So I would imagine it plays a much greater role in the story than just opening that door.
Maybe that's connected to his sort of freeing or sort of like cleansing his soul. I really don't know, because I don't know. I'm trying to think here.
If he's having flashbacks during Proving Grounds, and that is an unexpected part of the trials of him sort of having to not only challenge himself physically but mentally, I do wonder if he. So we know there's going to be the nightmare missions. I wonder if the nightmare missions tie into that thing, that disc. If
That's how
he has to go, yeah, he has to go sort of confront his past very directly, in order to sort of overcome that. Maybe he fails. Maybe he technically fails the first time.
That's very interesting. I haven't really thought about it that way. I will say about the relic, we can kind of see the same design motif with the eye and the mouth. In the background of that shot that he's referring to, I should have got it here, but I don't have it. But he's holding his stab wound or whatever, with helmet off, in hell, seemingly after he went through a segment of the mission. We see the relic's sort of design in the background. He's not holding the relic, but it is there. And notice he puts on his helmet and there's scratches all over it. When he arrives in that mission, there was not scratches on his helmet, and we further see the scratches and blood and stuff in the High Council cutscene. So yeah, he definitely gets beat up from a flashback or something to that extent. He definitely gets torn up by something because something catches him off guard and he reacts or fails to react the right way, and now he's all beaten up and stuff and bloodied because normally he wouldn't. There's no scratches beforehand. That's just something else that's interesting. But yeah, that relic, what its purpose is in the story, it's hard to say. But it seems to be tied to the Praetor suit somehow, or at least with the Wretch and forging stuff.
I do wonder if that is actually what makes the Praetor suit more powerful. If he maybe collects the whatever it is he's collecting that he would maybe get from confronting his past, and then that forges some sort of material that the Wretch can use to empower the Praetor suit. So he's pretty much, not only is he overcoming his past troubles, but he would be almost literally wearing it on his sleeve. Like his next armor is made of the material forged from him triumphing and overcoming his troubles. Which, that's kind of a different conversation, but funnily enough, it is not impenetrable because he does bleed during the 2016 Mars base because I get a blood sample from him.
Dude, plot hole. Kidding. That's kind of funny.
That's a different stream, though.
Plot holes part 5.
I would love to.
Yeah, I saw. This is a little off topic here. I did see in one of the one of the press interviews that Hugo stated that he truly hates the word plot hole or retcon, excuse me, because it just negative connotations to it. And I'm like, I never meant, anytime I talk about retcons, I never meant for them to sound bad. Because here's the thing about retcons, every story has retcons, every sequel has retcons. It's you have this like sort of branching pathway, right? And you can connect stuff to them, but you have these branching pathways that you leave open and it ended for a reason, because whenever your story naturally falls into place, that's whenever you're like you put the pieces together. But no, I never meant for retcon to sound like a bad thing, because retcons are necessary, usually, to some degree.
I mean, that's part of it. Whenever you create a universe or a story, you have to establish things that sort of flesh out the universe and the world and the story, and sometimes you casually establish something that ends up contradicting something later down the line, and you just gotta have to deal with that. I mean, it's a natural part of doing any sort of world building or story based stuff.
Right. Like, go ahead.
Okay. I as some of you know, I write a lot. And it's sort of like, I've never really shared it with anyone outside of like our little space here, but I've never like shared the actual passages or texts. But I know for a fact that there are many plot holes, and I don't even know like where they are to begin with, because no one really points them out. And it just to think of that, it sort of stresses me out. But then again, it's sort of like I'm fine with it, because again, that's sort of like the that's sort of the thing when it comes to writing a story. Like, there's going to be
they're there.
obvious
There's going to be there's going to be
Yeah.
compromises you make just because as a story, to take the story forward, you have to do certain things to make it more interesting and to make it more engaging, you know, like the whole Atlan thing, you know, because a Crucible Blade is required to kill an Atlan. Guess what, guys? We can't, or to kill a Titan. I guess that means we can never fight.
You messed up.
Okay, I guess that means we can never fight a Titan now, you know. But you know, because now we have the lore with the Atlans and stuff, it makes it more fulfilling as a story and as a game. But
I mean, you're also going to encounter more plot holes from a prequel story anyway. It's kind of inevitable, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
because
the
it's,
prequel problem,
it's
yep.
pretty. Yeah, prequels are notoriously hard to write for that one specific reason, because you have to tell the story within the continuity of the world you've established, follow the rules. But within a video game, that can be quite difficult because you can be heavily restricted, but, you know, in a gameplay sense, by the rules you've established in your world. And I feel like Doom's taken a lot of liberties to give us opportunities to have really fun combat set pieces and really fun gameplay sections, you know, at the liberty of kind of sabotaging some of the lore they previously established, which is fine with me. I don't really care. As long as it's fun and it services the gameplay well, then, you know, it's a sacrifice, you know, I'm willing to accept.
yeah, like I don't like jumping through hoops to explain things away. But whenever there are logical explanations that require some thinking, it can be fun to kind of, you know, be a lore enthusiast about something you're passionate about. But you know, again, that's besides the point. Let's with the retcon stuff out the way, that's just something kind of funny I pointed out there. But kind of directing back to what we talked about, the Proving Grounds, you know, it being the first mission, most definitely. So I can't remember who it was in this chat, but they said it's I think it was you actually, boss. You said you think that we're gonna fight the Abomination or whatever character in the Council's chamber and beat him before getting beaten as a boss. You know what? Thinking about it, I didn't ever think that would be the case personally, but thinking about it, we lose the shield and it gets we totally get like mogged there and taken to like deranked kind of in our upgrades. So maybe like that's like the sort of final climax with the shield saw mastery of the Slayer only is that boss at the beginning of the prologue. And then that's a challenge of our shield and all of our full arsenal before being, you know, just totally destroyed and restarting.
Personally, I think there's a lot of opportunity there to get really creative with a boss encounter, because we could have a boss encounter that's, you know, technically impossible to win. I actually had an idea.
Like Darth Vader in the Jedi Fallen Order game.
Kind of. I was mainly thinking of any of you guys played Ghost of Tsushima?
Yes.
No, I have not.
So I was thinking with the General Khan, at the beginning of the game, you go up against the General Khan, and he's the final boss of the game, but you also fight him in the prologue. And the main purpose of this encounter is to establish that the main character, Jin, is nowhere near capable enough to take on a threat this big. You know, it's mainly there to humble him in his introductory chapters. And I feel like this could be a really compelling opportunity to establish the Doomslayer's power level and show that he's not quite as strong as he initially thought. You know, we could have a boss encounter where, kind of like Azrak, actually, in the base game, where, you know, we fight him and we feel like we're making progress, but in reality, we're just getting absolutely mocked. And maybe we could have, like, some of the High Council members, like, throwing in some spells of their own just to make it even more unfair and even more difficult. And because I just feel like it's really cheap to have the Doomslayer defeated in an encounter we don't get to control. I feel like that'd be a really wasted opportunity. I think it'd be far more compelling from a gameplay and a story direction if we play that encounter out and we lose it, because we as the players feel betrayed by the game. We're like, why can't I beat this enemy? You know, we could beat every other enemy apart from this one, you know? And that motivates the journey for us to go on.
It could be framed like a normal boss fight, and then something just feels off, you know, like with the gameplay,
absolutely,
like intentionally. That's interesting. What are you gonna say, Horde?
Well, it could be like Enhanced Azrak, where like it is going like a normal boss fight, but then you'll have those glorious strike moments where you throw the shield and he catches it and throws it back. So things where, you know, you feel like you're doing damage to the Abomination, as we're calling it, But then you'll get a glory strike where you'll go to swing the dread mace and it'll like catch it and then fling you across the arena or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and could even like that could halt at a certain point in his health bar, like a fake health bar, where you go in for that glory strike, maybe 70% health, right? And that glory strike sends it into the cutscene where you just get defeated first person, and then
Yeah, absolutely.
even more so in
That-
the cinematic.
I'm really excited to see how they handle that part of the DLC specifically because, you know, I mean, what was your theory, Icon? You were saying that you thought the Slayer was going to get distracted by a flashback.
Yeah,
So
and
his
then-
mind would be in a flashback, and his body would be present in the chamber, and then that's when he gets defeated.
kind of sort of more so of
Yeah.
he is kind of taken into that sort of trauma just
Interesting,
as they
okay.
summon him, and then he snaps back into reality and he's just getting just totally beaten on and wailed on.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Personally, that's what I think will happen. I do hope for a boss fight there. I think it would be a great subversion.
I think so too.
I do think it would be interesting. Maybe a little frustrating, so maybe they couldn't do it. But if your shield actually broke partway through the boss fight,
Oh.
so all of a sudden he's throwing parry attacks that you can't actually parry.
Can
which
you
is
imagine?
sort
That'd
of
be great.
What
I
leads
love
to your
that.
defeat is like you
yeah.
know he's throwing all these crazy things and you have no way of dodging him and no way of avoiding
Yeah, that's
them. So you just die.
incredible.
And maybe
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
maybe
man.
there'd be like world record runs of like how long can you last in the arena, like Spider-Man 1 Buzz what's his name? Bonesaw style.
Yeah.
Yo, we got Midnight in the chat right now. Doom Guy recognized Belias and
Oh, wow,
as
really?
he retconned as his retcon son and got distracted. The retcon
Hi,
son.
Midnight.
I don't think his
Hi,
son
Midnight.
was retconned.
Oh no, definitely not. That's actually
yeah.
something I wouldn't mind talking about if we had a moment.
Yeah, if only
Was just
Midnight were
that,
here.
Okay.
I definitely do think that he probably has a son and a daughter. That's really all I have
Yeah,
to say.
like-
I think
yeah.
people are going a little
had.
too
Beforehand,
yeah, had.
beforehand daughter, which Jay has also mentioned a lot in the past, and something
Yeah.
that Jay and his speculations do with his the way he shares all the information. He has been very vocal on kind of correcting people who not correcting them in like a poor taste way, but just like enlightening them. Oh, hey, by the way, it's not a retcon, to the people who do think it's a retcon, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But that
That's-
whole
I'm
that
sorry.
whole phenomenon is interesting, and I can't wait to see how it does play out in the story with the flashback.
Yeah, absolutely. Icon, would you mind if we get to like the sort
Yeah.
of the conclusory
So,
thoughts for
Right.
this
I
expansion?
would like to now kind of go into the uprising, which is essentially what most people think is the final mission, and how we think that's going to conclude with everything we've talked about before. And then kind of go into some final subtle points here, which won't take long. But so after we go through the Proving Grounds and get sent to Purgatory, as we talked about earlier, go through Hell's Core, go through Osseous, go through Chasm, which I think is the penultimate mission, with the final mission being Uprising, where the Slayer now returns to Argent Denor. Whether he faces the Abomination again or he faces Merrick again, there is going to be a huge turning point in the story here. Just I don't have an image of it right now, but just the skies and the way the scenery looks is very it kind of evokes the feeling of loss with its color scheme to me, and just the
I
stakes
haven't
being
seen
really high.
it. I haven't seen it yet.
It was
I
in
don't-
the trailers, just like the pink
Oh,
hues of the sky
really?
and whatnot.
I think
Yeah.
one of the
Oh, okay.
in your vid, Hood,
What's
there
up?
was a little like 2-second, 3-second bit of it with the Archie in the background.
Yes.
So
Um,
they're really keeping that one under wraps.
I was
Yeah,
actually going to
probably
say
for
I'm
story purposes.
sure that is the only part of Uprising I actually saw as well was that little area.
I wanted to... No, sorry.
You
Yeah,
talking about the
that-
pic
that
with
was
the
just not
massive
being-
arch file, like the 2-story tall arch file,
yeah.
which is awesome.
I wanted to bring up Uprising again. I specifically the sky. This is like a very far-fetched theory, since I don't know what, like, how this could happen, or if this is going to be how it happens. I don't know how they would fit it in, but maybe what if the sky is red because the the
Hell?
Kingdom of Argentina. What if we see this is happening like a portion of Argentina is being consumed into hell, like we see in 2016 when we go to a
Ooh.
section of Argentina.
Similar to
what
it,
if that is
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Very,
What if
very
that's
fair.
that?
Very fair. Well, Uprising does sort of kind of point towards the idea of the Civil War and the sort of political outburst. So there's definitely that part of it. But no, that is a very good point and a very interesting way to look at it as well, as maybe a certain element of Argentina or a certain area is just kind of being invaded or consumed.
Yeah, because I always saw like the Argenta just like as a society just being like they start off like great. They start off like really strong, but like think of it like Captain America: Civil War, great movie.
Yeah.
The Avengers. Oh my God, the Avengers stick together because they're like, yeah, they're a little iffy, but they're stronger together. But they slowly start being like picked apart and get weaker over time because of Zemo and how he like manipulated all of them. It's sort of like rotting from the inside, like the Sentinels. Like they in this case were like corroding because of the makers, the manipulation, and the soul factories.
Yeah, I'm sure they drew some parallels there. Even just this is kind of seen honestly a lot, or not a lot, but common in stories like this. So it is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Uprising as the climax, I think will be satisfying narratively, and then us going back to Purgatory, story-wise, I think is just going to fit in the story as well, because I think it's going to have a similar ending to the Dark Ages in the sense of the Slayer returns back to Hell just to continue what he's doing during this period. Yeah.
I very much do not think he will return to Hell after the at the end of Uprising.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe a revenge on the council aspect, kind of setting up for that story, or something
Well, I think
compels
it
him
leads
to go there.
directly into the Civil War.
Maybe not
I don't think
physically,
it'll
but yes,
lead
he's not going to leave the Sentinels. I
directly.
mean, I think he's just going to sort of. I feel like it'd be weird to have 40% of the game be about Purgatory and backtracking and Zalgoroth. If there's no point in going back there, I don't know. They'd have to leave it for some reason to go there narratively. I think just to satisfy that. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I just feel like him returning is like returning for good. I feel like the Slayer left for whatever reason at the end of the campaign, and then he will not be doing that again. He is like he comes back. There is some treachery afoot with the Khan Maker in Hell, and it is now his time to lead the Sentinels more directly.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I don't think he'd leave them long term again, but yeah, okay, that is fair. It's a fair assumption. You could kind of ride away the backtracking element of not really being again canon per se, because a lot of games have that with it. Even like Wolfenstein: The New Colossus,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think I also had a theory. So that's kind of wrapping it up here, guys. That's kind of wrapping up all of our main points. I'd like to kind of go into some kind of quick fire thoughts and questions. Jay, did you have any points you had to make? I think you mentioned that you had a question or
most
two.
Most of them were, a
Touched
bit
on.
ago about
Okay.
the chasm. So I think we
About
already shot
Chasm,
those.
yeah.
Really, what to say? DLC's hyped,
Right.
excited.
Absolutely.
Gonna be awesome.
Before I wrap it up here, with everything going on, there's a couple ideas I'd like to share. What do you all think of with Thera being absent and future installments? What if we see some sort of initiation to the conflict of Merrick maybe betraying Thera because she has the power of a wraith?
There's two possibilities here. Maybe three. She either dies in DLC or she dies in the next season.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
I think next game.
Yeah, I also would like to point up the Elemental Sepulchre. If they're setting up this betrayal story, I initially thought that maybe the reason to go to the Cosmic Realm would be to get the keys to the Elemental Sepulchre after discovering it in Argent Denor, with new wraiths being there, since the last one was said to be within Thera, and they're apparently extinct in their knowledge. But it seems that that's another story that's going to be told another time. which I'm okay with. But yeah, I would like to see maybe some touch on that. Maybe them learning about it or something would be cool. Another thing go ahead.
Well, you go ahead. I have one more thing I want to end with before we
Okay.
really wrap this up. But you go ahead. Absolutely.
Yeah, one small thing I would like to see. I wouldn't like to see it, but like I would think would be a funny inclusion, and just it might make a lot of people mad, but I think it would be perfect for the brand. Is similar to what we see with Eternal and Cultist base in the Revenant. Just him getting what he wants from the Wretch, and then just capping him. Would be very interesting. After getting the suit, after ascending from Hell's Core, he completed his spiritual ascension. At the end of the day, he's a demon. Who cares, right? He's got to die.
Well, I do feel like if he's really completed the spiritual ascension, he wouldn't kill him.
Yes, but the Slayer
I
we see
agree.
going forward is the one who would do that. I personally think.
Well, I feel like the one we see now is one who wouldn't do that.
I feel like the spiritual ascension is turning him into even more of a killing machine and less in touch with his sort of past. He's overcoming his traumas and just laying in, fueling his. He's channeling his hatred more after this. I feel like.
Yeah.
I always like when we were given more details about the DLC like over time, especially now. I always thought of maybe this DLC being like similar to the God of War Valhalla DLC, like where Kratos like sort of comes to terms with who he was and gets like a more clearer headspace.
Okay.
I think that something similar is going to happen here, where a Doom guy can like he can sort of heal from what happens, if that makes sense. Like Kratos did.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I feel like him being able to heal from that trauma, does sort of to an extent enable him to walk away from a situation like the Wretch, be able to turn around and not kill him, not let his hatred for the demons sort of overwhelm him and get him to kill someone who has helped him and who is also betraying Hell. I feel like if he's able to overcome his trauma, then he should be able to overcome that sort of thirst to just sort of eradicate all of Hell, every last one of them.
Yeah.
I had one more point I was going to throw out here really quick.
Okay.
Because I think we wanted to wrap this up. This is it. Their big moment. Maybe their last chance to put those cover art demons in game with the classic
my
flashbacks.
God, yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh my God, you're right.
Not
dude. No one has
Not a
mentioned this.
Like,
Let him
it's it.
cook.
This is it. This is our chance.
That'd be
Well,
awesome.
Yeah. Just to close off, I want to do like a sort of a small thing. This is a question for the chat. Which level do you guys want to see the most?
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Midnight, if you're still in chat, who do you think is going to be the final boss? We were just kind of touching on this with some of our theories about the backstories of the bosses and their interaction in the campaign. Who do you think is going to be the final boss?
is disgusting.
The final boss is going to be disgusting for sure, and it's also going to be the friends we made along the way.
True.
This is disgusting.
A lot of OCS.
Yeah.
A lot of OCS.
The honest truth behind the final boss.
Lots of
The Chasm of
Lagoon-
Zalgoroth. That's interesting. Okay.
SPC says
That's what I'm
OCS
saying.
it's gonna be like the blood swamps.
I want to see the
like
IKEA
Doom
level.
blood
That's definitely Zalgoroth.
tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see everything.
Dude,
No,
I'm
we'll
so-
see in 2
what do you
days.
think some of the puzzles are going to be? Because they went, the base game ones and the Cosmic Realm were pretty sick.
Real quick, I think that we're going to see a lot of spear stuff. He thinks the final
yeah.
boss will be Merrick, which is fair. I think building him up as the main conflict, being the conflict within Argent Denor, setting him up for the final boss would be cool if there was a second encounter. It would be
I'm
illegally
hoping-
disturbing
yeah.
and disgusting.
Yeah. Suzaru.
Yes,
the
I
name.
think most people are voting for either Hell's Core or Zalgoroth. It seems.
For final
number-
level?
For
Number one
no,
choice.
for-
Oh.
for
favorite level?
favorite level, yeah.
I would have to go with Osius.
Real quick,
Yeah.
guys. With this being the final theory date to really have any input before the DLC releases and the launch trailer releases, I really want to ask y'all to to just give me some ideas that y'all have that we might have not touched on, or your inputs on them, and I can kind of skim across them very, very quickly. But this stream really, I'm glad we could do it. This is really, like I said, the last time we could do something like this, because everything goes out the window tomorrow and Tuesday. Everything we have gets canned or confirmed.
Like tomorrow, I just want to remind the chat, tomorrow is like 50-50. It could be the launch trade of tomorrow. And everything of what we have said
the
has been
OST
confirmed.
tomorrow, so
That too. And I heard it's a little spoiler. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but I assume that's gonna be spoiler. But besides that, I think
Yeah.
my message to the masses is beware of spoilers. Beware of spoilers.
Yeah, guys, beware of spoilers. Avoid every thumbnail. Midnight, if you're making a thumbnail that's spoilery, put a big disgusting on top of it, not behind it.
Yeah, I'd also say, I mean, if you have plans on playing this, I mean, everyone's got a life here, you know, everyone's got work to do, girlfriends to tend to, and all that sort of stuff. I'd say try and finish this as quick as you can, like, obviously not absurdly fast. But if you really want to avoid spoilers, try and finish this within a couple of days, because, you know, the content we're about to witness, I truly believe, is going to be the peakest Doom content I think we're probably ever gonna see for a while. You know what I mean? Like, the things we're seeing in here is so ambitious, so exciting, and I think we all deserve to go into this spoiler-free.
You couldn't have said it better
Oh, yeah.
myself, dude. Absolutely.
And just in case
Absolutely,
anyone's
dude.
worried about us making any spoilery videos, don't worry. And none of us have intentions on spoiling
Oh,
this
I
DLC for
100%
any of
do,
you. maybe Jay will spoil the whole thing.
Speak for yourself,
Like-
man. I'm putting the final boss in all my thumbnails going forwards.
Oh yeah, Hold's
That's
gonna
your disgusting.
spoil it, bro.
Yeah, I'm
But yeah.
seeing some people just real quickly with their theories and stuff. Someone asked our final post credits cutscene theories. I think we touched a bit on maybe either some stuff with the Wretch or some stuff with the Khan and Devoth, maybe with the High Councils and their pact.
I wanted to be Devoth. Oh, go on.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I think
I saw someone
Devoth's
ask.
gotta-
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Devoth. It's got to be. I think someone mentioned what Archdemon was depicted in the kind of non-canon arena. That was Erebus, who, if he is still canon,
The greatest archdemon.
yeah, the greatest Archdemon who must be canon.
You guys aren't ready for Merrick becoming the first Marauder in the post-credit scene. You aren't ready for it.
Oh,
Place
that's
in
gonna
the-
be
into the
Erebus.
divinity
Oh, that'll be
machine.
so good.
It's gonna be Erebus crawling out of the computer and he's gonna
What if?
drag you into the Doom universe.
What if Merrick
as-
dies, right, and gets resurrected in the post cutscene as the first demonic Marauder?
Oh,
That'd be pretty cool. I feel like if it's been hyped up this much, it has to be like a big reveal. You know what I mean? I think the Dark Lord probably would be that. It also makes sense considering we're seeing the High Council in this DLC. We're seeing the Calm Mako. You know, we're seeing all the big Doom villains here. So I think a real way to cement like the antagonistic force of Doom, which is what this DLC basically is, would be to have the Dark Lord as like the final cliffhanger, kind of like we saw him at the Tag 1 ending. I think that'd be really cool.
Spider-Man No Way Home had all the villains coming together. This could be that. This
It could be,
yeah, this
honestly.
could
I
be
mean,
that.
it
No Way
basically is already, you know? So,
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
we have a somewhat icon of sin. Not really, not yet. We have the Con Maker.
Well-
We have the Archdemons and maybe Devoth too.
Something about the Merrick is he already kind of is like they're already if you play it chronologically with this before Eternal, he kind of is the icon of sin here. We see just like his father, he betrayed his own people, and he's the icon of sin for his people already.
That's true. I like that.
So I like that kind of foresight there with now he's gonna kind of become that depicted physically.
I'm the literal icon of sin. I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Like that's what he gets for, we'll resurrect him, but as a demon because of this. He's the icon of sin. He's a sinner. He's not, whatever.
Oh, man.
Icon of original sin.
Icon of simp. But yeah, guys, we Midnight says he's gonna be streaming the whole thing on his Twitch. That'd be awesome. I think
That's
Midnight has
disgusting.
some good reactions. I like tuning in on his reactions to all the stuff. That stuff is always great because he's enthusiastic about the lore. and you don't get a lot of that for reactions in channels like that.
And I will say, I probably will be streaming this whole DLC too on release day. So if you need any live reactions, check out my channel.
Do not contact
Franco
you
live
on the
reaction.
7th. Gotcha.
That's right.
Yeah. Just before we go, guys, before I get my final thoughts, we will be doing a post-launch stream. The day it releases. No, I'm just kidding. Give us a week or two just to really settle, and we'll see who we can get on. It'll basically just be discussing some of the story elements. We'll do a specific topic, and I'll announce that soon. But so much to talk about in terms of lore lives and just lore videos in general.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and just some cool special guests coming on soon, guys. I can't wait for y'all to see. It'll be disgusting, you know.
Yo, I'm gonna spoil it right now.
It'll be disgusting. Bro.
Yeah, so no spoilers, everyone. Do not never pretend the DLC doesn't exist. Pretend it doesn't exist at all. What DLC?
Don't even play it.
Yeah,
Don't
even
play
play
on
it.
YouTube.
Don't even play it.
Guys, don't play the
spoil yourself by
DLC. It'll
playing it.
spoil you.
Never even touch a video game again.
Yeah.
Don't even do anything.
But
No, but in all seriousness, like when Tuesday comes around, you know, in your time zone, try and avoid YouTube for at least 2 days. Go into this as blind as you possibly can. Hell, even avoid our channels for that time. You know,
Yeah.
just go into it as blind as really savor the experience too. Try not to rush through it, you know, because we've waited a long time for this.
If you go on YouTube, you have a chance of seeing Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations, all the final bosses.
Doom: The Dark
and just-
Ages DLC.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
they just yeah,
Dude,
it's gonna
they
be great.
spoil entire games within release day.
yeah,
They'll spoil a DLC within no time. Trust me. Like,
Prosophia Gaming or something like that.
yeah, for sure.
This truly is like the biggest celebration of the franchise. You know, I would argue since
Yeah,
Tag
that is,
2. Just the stakes are really high. The severity of everything going on in terms of gameplay and story and the future of the series in general is insane. Like this will change Doom forever going forward. And in terms, you won't be able to play the Dark Ages again the same, you know. And if you do, there will be like a sort of developed taste for it, like a newfound appreciation for it. I feel like.
Just wanna, I agree. I completely agree. I want to give a shout out to everyone who joined. You are the real Slayers.
Yeah, we see all your comments, we read them, we take them all into account. We like all the chats and discussions. We don't like the ones who talk about who likes who. That's a little weird. But however, that being said,
I like you.
I love you.
I love you too.
That being said, let's just take a moment to again, just with the DLC coming out. You know, this is gonna be a big celebration of the franchise. Just we can't thank the folks that did software enough and their entire team, not just Hugo Martin. You know, the amount of work they put in is
Yeah.
crazy, and it shows. And everything they put out is just beautiful, and they don't get enough recognition, and it sucks. But hopefully
Very well said.
this DLC will have this sort of new understanding of the Dark Ages, right? You'll be able to judge this as not a miss from Eternal. Now it's something else that you can really find a new perspective on. But thank you, Hugo. If you watch the VOD, then we appreciate it. We appreciate all of the teases you've given us the past year. And to all you tuning in, thank you. Thank you, Midnight, for joining. And thank you, Boss Ranker, Horde, Soap, and Jay. I couldn't have done this without you. And thanks for coming in to chat and just yap for 2.5 hours. 3
Yeah,
hours.
dude, it's
absolutely,
been a-
man.
it's been a great
Even
journey.
though,
And thank
even
you,
though
Flash
it's
Flood
like
of Southern Georgia.
Icon, you transferred the storm over here. There's a thunderstorm outside my house right now.
Bunch of jackasses are shooting off leftover fireworks right above my house. So
Yes,
that's,
same.
You guys gonna have some fun sleep tonight.
Yeah, my dog's been howling this whole time. I'm surprised y'all can't hear it, but yeah.
But yeah,
storm's
man, Icon,
passed.
before we wrap up, like, it truly is a pleasure to be part of this stream, be part of this community. You know, it's even incredible that we have 100 people listening to this. Like, it's truly such a blessing, and I thank every single person in here for listening to this commentary and being excited for one of the best expansions ever made.
Yeah, definitely.
correction, the best expansion ever
The
made.
best, yeah, absolutely.
If you
Oh,
don't
no,
like
I think
Revelations,
Oh
you
my
don't
God.
understand. Nobody understands why Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations is the best DLC ever made.
True.
Disgusting.
Illegal.
This is sick.
Yeah, I'm wearing it. If y'all are going to QuakeCon, I'm the guy wearing "This is disgusting" shirt. But anyways, that
Wait.
being said, what's up?
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, are you gonna get us all shirts for like QuakeCon? Like, do you want us to like chip in some?
No. You'll see.
Okay. Okay.
All right, but that being
I'd
said,
like to
guys,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
Not just like the devs, but everyone who's made the music and that kind of stuff. Finishing Move,
Oh,
Alex,
yes.
Andrew, David
And
Levy,
absolutely can't forget senior community lead Joshua Boyle as well.
the GOAT.
Oh yeah.
The GOAT.
I mean, honestly,
Thank you, Josh, so much.
without
And everyone
him,
who works on the streams.
without him, a lot of this would not be possible. A lot of the Hugo interactions and everything you see with the community is because of him, you know. Soap to Go and Hato, people like them just communicating everything to a broad audience so easily and so efficiently for over a year now is amazing, you know, for free. It's totally commendable, man. Like Reddit, Twitter, all
Like
that stuff.
we are truly lucky to be in like a community like this where we get like feedback from developers rather than radio silence.
Yeah, absolutely. But that being said, guys, launch trailer is tomorrow or the next day. Can't wait to hear the soundtrack. Can't wait to play the game. I will see you guys on the other side. Until then, watch everyone's videos, have your own theories going in to the game, and enjoy it. I will see y'all in about a week.
And don't spoil.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Good
Yeah. No
guys.
spoilers. Take care, everybody.
Major
Hello, guys.
spoilers.